AM 620 WDAE St. Petersburg, an iHeart radio station.
It's time, man! The stage is set!
Welcome.
Welcome home, baby. I like this kind of party!
Putting the fun in dysfunctional. Each and every weekday morning, the Pat and Aaron Show.
Is it a little too early for being that loud?
Good Morning Tampa Bay.
And here we go.
Now your hosts, Pat Donovan and Aaron Jacobson.
Good morning, goons. Welcome to the Pat and Aaron Show, 95.3 WDAE and AM 620. Coming to you live on a Tuesday morning, and you know what that means.
Uh-oh. Guess what day it is?
Taco Tuesday!
Usually that Jack and Aaron are talking about like Game of Thrones or Taco Tuesday, and you can't listen to them.
Let me give you some advice, bastard. Never forget what you are. The rest of the world will not. Wear it like armor.
Shame.
A Game of Thrones and Taco Tuesday here on the Pat and Aaron Show. Once again, I am here live from the palatial WDAE iHeartRadio studios here in Feather Sound, and Aaron Jacobson is playing Safer at Home Radio as he recovers from the Cove.
I think this is my last day. This is it. I'm going to take a test today. I'm going to hope that this is a negative test. I took one yesterday that was negative the first time I got a negative test. So I've been told I need 2 days of that, and I'm good to come back. So
I've got money on you being here tomorrow.
Me too.
We're meeting some new friends after the show, as you know.
Doing a stair climb tomorrow.
And
what a way to come back from COVID.
Is tomorrow the day?
Tomorrow's the day.
Whoa.
Yeah. Get ready, buddy. Get ready.
I'm ready.
We got a lot to talk about today, Pat.
We do. We have a ton to talk about.
I know it's going to be a football-heavy day. It's going to be a huge, big football day.
Yeah.
I know we're not going to talk a lot about the Rays.
Well,
we should talk a lot about the Rays.
Once again, the story gets more interesting, and certainly that wasn't something we saw early yesterday, but the news did come out, and honestly, Aaron, I don't know how much, I can't remember how the last time you and I talked about the Trop and repairing.
Repairing the Trop, because I'm dying. I have been dying all night. I could not wait to hear what you had to say, because you have been pretty back and forth on this thing. And you
back and forth on my optimism about it, for sure.
For sure, but also you have not really taken any shots at the Rays. I've been the one who's been pretty harsh on the Rays, if we're being quite honest about the situation. So I
feel like that's semi-fair. I've said when I thought the Rays were wrong.
I'm interested to hear when you reveal what happened yesterday, what your take is now on the Rays side of things.
Well, and of course, the news is the Rays now expect and I guess want St. Petersburg to repair Tropicana Field so that it is ready for 2026. And again, when you were out, Rock Riley and I had a conversation about this, and he was like, he's like, what do they do? I don't think they're back there. And I said, I think they are. I think that was a ploy to get the ballpark deal done. But as soon as that we were going to be eventually definitely moving in that direction, if it was, and it was done, then they would get the ballpark fixed and they would end up playing it back at Tropicana Field.
All right.
And so that's exactly this. Honestly, this is exactly what I expected.
The reasons for why it's there and why the Rays are doing it, I think you and I still disagree on that. You think the Rays were giving them a push and saying, "Hey, we're gonna put your feet to the fire here by saying this, that we're not gonna. There's no need to repair the Trop." I disagree. I think there's separate issues when we're talking about the stadium and the Trop. I don't know. I don't know what their deal is
because if you're not going to, Aaron, I'm sorry to cut you off, but if you're not going to get a stadium deal done and keep the Rays here in Tampa Bay, what's the point of putting all that money into a roof so that they can play here for one season before they go somewhere else?
Yeah, but why not that conversation? Why not have that conversation? And here's and Chris Latvala, who we've had on the show, he went from zero to hero quickly in the Tampa Bay area, especially on this show. But yesterday he really posed an interesting question on X, and I retweeted it at Jacobson on air. But essentially, he was saying, why did it take? The Rays were really adamant that 20 whatever day window that the vote had been delayed, that had changed everything, and they couldn't recover from that because of the money that was going to have to be spent on the overrun and the delays. And now we've had that vote that's taken place longer. More time has gone by from that vote to now, essentially the same amount of time, and we haven't seen any movement on this stadium. What's that about?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a good question. It's like the Rays are just leaving it out there because they said they're not ready to pay for the, $150 million. Allegedly, it's going to cost more because of the delay. But they need to just, and I said, and that's why when you say that you've been, I guess you've taken shots at the Rays. Maybe you could say I haven't taken shots at the Rays.
Well, I've been more.
But I've certainly disagreed on their stance on several things, including the overage that allegedly this ballpark is going to cost more. With what happened with the hurricane, and I said this at the time, the Rays can't expect more from the taxpayers when it comes to building that ballpark. And it can't be the difference between doing it or not. They need to just get it done. They need to figure it out, whether it's more investors or whatever it is. They need to pay for that.
I'm just hesitant to trust the motives of the Rays more so than you, I believe. I'm just a little bit, I don't want to say suspicious because I love the Rays. I love the organization. They really are a great organization. But the motives of what they've been doing and how they've navigated through this situation, I don't know if I fully trust the motives of what Stu Sternberg wants to do and wants to achieve for years to come in the area, just because there's been so many twists and turns in Montreal and, Tampa was going to happen. And,
sure, Montreal was stupid. We know that. That was absolutely stupid.
There's just a lot of twists and turns along the way, and I know Rays fans feel the same way. It's been going on, this saga, for so long that it is hard to fully trust the Rays side of things. And in turn, I think that's where we're seeing the lack of trust on the St. Pete and really Pinellas County side of things.
I get it, but to me, I trust my gut and the way I feel about how I would handle things. And it doesn't mean that I'm right? But based off, A, my gut and what I think makes sense and doesn't make sense, and B, the relationships we have built within that organization and the trust that I do have for people that sit down across from the table from us and look us in the eye and tell us things on and off the record. So because of how much I do trust some of the people there that we know very well, and what I just think makes sense, I do have a certain amount of belief that they're not just trying to angle this to get the hell out of town. I think it doesn't, all the things they've done, it doesn't make sense financially. I think they would have been wasting so much time because it could have been a lot easier to either A, in my opinion, get a ballpark done here in Tampa Bay, or get out to wherever you're going a lot earlier than now had you been more aggressive with that. And for all the times we've said that Stu Sternberg has threatened to leave with the team, he actually hasn't. He's never said, I'm going to leave Tampa Bay. He's never actually said that.
And I've never said that either.
No, I know you haven't, but I'm saying that that's a narrative, is that he's threatened to leave with this team a number of times, and the reality is he hasn't.
Yeah, and we're going to have to see what happens here. I just think the changing of positions, I know this is a game. I understand that this is a game, and it's a game that is way bigger than you and me, Pat.
It's an annoying game.
It's an annoying game, and it's hard to navigate through the twists and turns of this very, very annoying game.
Yeah, and again, I don't trust everything like that. Everybody's 100% just for the best for everyone. Of course, they're trying to take advantage the best they can, but I think both sides are, and that's always going to be the case. And it's frustrating as a fan because you just want what's best for the fans to be put first, and I don't think anybody puts what's best for the fans first. I don't think that anybody has that in mind first.
Because here's where it gets just confusing of where are we rooting? What are we rooting for? What do we want to happen?
Are you confused?
Well, yeah, yes.
I'm not.
Howard, yes, you are.
I'm not.
You are very.
I'm rooting for a ballpark. And whatever gets that done, and whoever is the hero or the villain after that, I don't even care. I just want the damn ballpark.
But there are portions, and because of what happened with the Hurricanes, we've got Brian Auld, president of the Rays, who went back in November and was saying that there's no need to repair the Trop, right? And essentially, if we would have just seen that vote go towards repairing the trop, we could have already seen the trop probably close to, the repairs underway here, right? It would have taken a while, but the repairs would have been underway already. So that delay right there, and now they're saying that the Rays are saying that they've changed their position on that. It's just a lot of time delays, and for an organization that was very upset with the time delays, they don't seem to be really crunching it and getting after it now that everything has gone through, and that's bizarre to me.
Well, no, that's a great point. You know what I mean? If you were in a rush, then why aren't you in a rush? But I think they're trying to figure out a way to get the city and the county to pay for more of the ballpark because of the delay. And to me,
it's wrong.
I couldn't disagree with that more, right? And that's why, I haven't taken shots necessarily, but I don't agree with the Rays asking for more money to build that ballpark, even if it's going to cost them more.
And maybe taking shots isn't the right word, because I don't think I've taken shots. I've been honest in my opinion and honest in my confusion of what's going on here. And I don't think it was just fair to say the Rays were blameless in all of this. I think everyone has a little bit of blame here.
No, I think, listen, again, before the votes, I think you could say that we wouldn't be here if the Pinellas County Commission voted the way that it was supposed to a long time ago. Right? That was the first mistake, and that was and at that point I said I thought they were completely to blame, and I believe that. Because if they just did their job, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be having any of these discussions. So that at that point I did believe they were at fault. Some of the things that have happened since and the way the Rays have handled some of the things that have happened since, I certainly don't agree with.
How cold is it outside right now? I haven't even stepped outside today.
I'm not okay with this, man.
40s, upper 40s.
If
got my toboggan on today.
He's tobogganing, Aaron. He's tobogganing. Listen, what's weird is it's warmer now than it's going to be at 8 o'clock, if Googs is correct. Right?
I don't trust Googs, but that does sound correct.
Googs uses the National Weather Service or weather.com or something. It's not like they just make it up out of space.
It's going to be high 30s at 8 o'clock.
That's, yeah. 38.
New York? What's going on here?
39. Dude, it was 41 when we landed in D.C. And it's going to be colder than that at 8 o'clock in Tampa Bay this morning. It's
at least
disgusting.
The sun will be out.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, no, later today. It's going to be like
I
this.
was trying to get you to sing.
Tomorrow.
I don't know why I was trying to get you to sing. So I miss your stupid face. If anybody's watching on YouTube, X, we're live, of course, on the interwebs. Yes, if you're wondering why you're only looking at me, it's not because our electronic technologies are not working today. It's because Aaron Jacobson is at home for Safer at Home Radio. But we will talk a lot of Buccaneer football today. But yes, after the news about the Rays yesterday, we'll talk a lot about that as well, because it is confusing. It is frustrating. I don't know what the wait is about. I don't think anybody knows what the wait is about. But either way, as long as they get this damn thing done, I don't care. I don't care who's at fault. And I'm not saying we shouldn't talk about it. I'm saying there doesn't need to be a villain. There doesn't need to be a hero. There just needs to be a mother effing ballpark. All right. Time for today's.
That was poetic.
I'm sorry.
That should be a t-shirt.
Yeah,
that was good.
Jeff Anella, are you listening? There doesn't need to be a hero. There doesn't need to be a villain. There just needs to be a mother effing ballpark. My apologies to the children in the car today. But you know what? This is a learning moment.
Are they back? They're back in school. Yeah.
Are they? Yeah.
They're
Mother effing school.
Show on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620. Top headlines.
Time for today's top headlines, brought to you by Casey Warner's Massive Intelligence. Also, I want to tell you something right now. You can watch us on YouTube and X. Actually, you can watch me. Aaron's at home, but he's on the show, but you can't watch him right now. But also, if you're watching on YouTube or X, I want to show you another way you could be listening to us. Have you been on the brand new, there it is, iHeartRadio app? It's pretty sweet. If you look up here, it's got like a radio dial, right? It works like a radio dial. We can scan across it with all live radio stations. Of course, you want to stay on this one during this show. But also you can do presets up at the top. I mean, the new iHeartRadio app, it is pretty sweet. Make sure you check it out. Download the update if you haven't. Download iHeartRadio if you haven't.
It's really cool. If you check it out, because the way you can see it up top, they make it so easy. So you can set the preset. So, for instance, if you like WDAE, that's your favorite station, you can just set that to the preset. It's super easy.
Better be your favorite station.
Hey, listen, iHeart's got a lot. We got a lot of great stations across the board here.
I know, and there are a lot that should be in the running for number 2.
You're right. We should be number 1, no doubt about it.
We are
Casey Warner,
1.
you're number 1.
Yeah, I'm number 1, and I tell you who's not number 1 is these teams who have gotten rid of head coaches and coordinators. Yesterday, we got the news about Gerard Mayo, and then also later on in the show, I believe it was right towards the end of the show, maybe even right after the show.
That was during the show.
Doug Peterson, that was during the show. He got fired as well, and then there were some coordinators that were let go on Black Monday as well. The Colts dismissed defensive coordinator Gus Bradley. The Seahawks fired offensive coordinator, Ryan Grubb, and the Bengals fired defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, and there are a lot of rumors swirling about head coaching interviews. News on that, Mike Vrabel is reportedly the favorite for the Patriots job.
He's got to get that. He's got to get that, right?
Yeah.
Like, that would be such a miss by Kraft after everything. And we'll get into the Kraft situation, and we'll get into why, and Pat and I will get into why the opportunities and not the craziest Black Monday yesterday, why that could actually help the Buccaneers. But I think you need to start seeing, and of course, we all know what I'm talking about here, Liam Cohen. Keeping him in town.
Nobody thought that's where you were leaning.
We need to keep him in town, and that means the more head coaching vacancies that get filled, that means that the likelihood that he's going to stay here. So we got to start with that, lock that in, Vrabel to the Patriots. Let's start getting these coaching positions filled,
And keeping it in the division, the Saints head coaching search, interview requests for them have been Aaron Glenn, Kellen Moore, Joe Brady, and Anthony Weaver. And then also interim head coach Darren Rizzi is in the discussion to be interviewed.
Is this the year, Pat, that Ben Johnson finally takes a job?
I don't know, because his demands are pretty high. I think he wants to pick his own GM. So that would mean Jacksonville's out of the equation because those idiots held on to Trent Baalke for some reason.
He's the favorite, by the way, odds-on favorite in Jacksonville to take that job.
It's going to be interesting to see if he will take that job and allow Trent Baalke to stay there, or if he'll push his weight around and make Khan fire Baalke, because that's part of the talk is that not only does he want a lot of money to be a head coach, but he wants to pick his guy for GM.
The top 3 in the odds for the next Jags coaching position: Ben Johnson, number 1, Joe Brady, number 2, Cliff Kingsbury, number 3.
I'm going to tell you what.
Liam Cohen, number 4.
Sorry about that. All the names we've heard today, other than Liam Cohen, all of the other potential head coaching candidates, to me, they all sound like better candidates than Liam Cohen. And I hope owners around the league realize it. They don't want this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you ever had dinner or you like a family dinner and there's family servings or whatever, and you go, that's not very good. You don't want any of that.
No, only you do that.
Mm-hmm. That's just me.
Yeah, nobody does that. You know what? That's a lie. People do that.
Yeah, you're right.
Nobody believes it. When Pat looks at someone and goes, that's not very good, nobody believes it.
They know what I'm doing.
You shouldn't do that, because if you do that to me, I'm going to double up on that item.
Well, it could be a reverse psychology strategy where I want you to eat it, because otherwise I'm going to eat so much I'm just disgusted with myself.
Oh, that's fine too.
Liam Cohen certainly isn't ready for a head coaching job. You heard Pat say it there, and the Tampa Bay Lightning certainly are not ready for the new year.
Hold on. Sorry, Casey. You should clip that and send that out. That piece out on social media. Pat saying that.
The food comment?
No, Pat saying that Liam Cohen's not ready for a job.
Okay, gotcha. So what I was that is a hot take. What I was alluding to, though, is the Tampa Bay Lightning are not ready for the new year, it seems. They have lost 4 straight dating back to December 29th. Their last win came back on Saturday, December 28th at home against the New York Rangers. Since then, they were at home against Montreal. They lost 5-2 on December 29th. They lost at San Jose 2-1 on the 2nd of the year. They lost at LA 2-1 on Saturday, and then they lost at Anaheim 4-1 on Sunday. And then tonight they will face the Carolina Hurricanes at 7 p.m. looking to get back on track because it has not been a good stretch for the Lightning.
They are a team that when their offense was humming early on in the season, they were scoring a lot of goals and they were winning a lot of games, and then they went out west and that streak went away. They weren't scoring goals and they weren't winning games. So that's part of when you see the struggles. That's part of it.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And this is a team that, we talked about this when they were playing well. We expected there would probably be some plateaus for this hockey team as well. They are still figuring things out together. I think I think they're going to be a pretty good team that gets into the playoffs. Probably not a Stanley Cup contender. Would you agree with that?
No,
I think so.
I don't. I disagree with that.
You think they are a Stanley Cup?
Yes,
contender?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. As long as they get stronger, then as long as they get stronger here, they'll be, as the season progresses, I think they'll be fine.
Oh, they'll be fine. But do you really believe they're a team that would challenge for a Stanley Cup? At this point, I'll be honest with you, I don't.
When you have Jake Gensel doing what he's done this season, and you add the scoring ability from Braden Point and Nikita Kucherov and just, Hagel and Cirelli, yeah, okay, so the top line has been just fantastic, but that's a lot of pressure on those guys. So when they're not performing, then what happens? They lose some hockey games. So everyone's going to have to step up. They're going to have to be deeper here. But I do think when you have a top line like that, you're going to be able to be a contender.
I suppose you could say contender, but I think if we're being honest, we both believe that there's at least 3 or 4 teams in each conference that are better than the Lightning.
Doesn't mean you're not a contender.
It's fine.
They're getting there. They're on the outside looking in right now. I tell you who's not on the outside looking in, though, is your USF men's basketball team. I tell you what, they are putting it together right here. They have 4 straight wins, 2 straight American Athletic Conference wins to open up conference play. They had a big win last night at Wichita State, defeating the Wheat Shockers.
Man.
Yeah, it would have. I was looking at it before the game, and I took a hard look, and of course I didn't put it in, which is good because that's why they won. 91-72.
Crushed them.
Yeah, crushed them. Kobe Knox was flawless from the floor. He had 15 points, 6 of 6 field goals, and 3 of 3 from downtown. Keep an eye on your USF Bulls. They play Saturday at Tulane, and they look to stay undefeated in American Athletic Conference play, putting it together at the right time.
This is the season of magic for them. With everything that happened, when your coach passes away tragically before the season, like we witnessed here with Coach Amir Abdur-Rahim, which is so sad. These kids are rallying and they're playing hard, and sometimes you have these teams of destiny. I'm hoping that's what we're seeing here.
Yeah, it's been pretty impressive to see how they're playing right now, and we talked about it before the year that this would be such a difficult year every time you go out to the court if you're one of these kids, but they've, I think, taken that, and sometimes that emotion can really drive you, and I think we're seeing that with this basketball team.
Pat, before we wrap up the headlines, I did notice this on the text line. Pat, they posted the video/question of you telling Mike Evans the fans will follow him into the casino on ESPN. We talked about that on the show yesterday. We didn't play the audio. I heard it. I saw it making the rounds. And you said yesterday that you thought you jumped in too fast there. You probably did, but the moment wasn't bad. Like it was it looked like it sounded like he could have been done, and clearly it was good enough to get the response from him.
Yeah.
And the response that you got from him, that was the viral response.
It was pretty funny, and I didn't even see it on ESPN. I actually saw it on NFL shared it on social media.
It's everywhere.
That's 2 weeks in a row the NFL shared my questions on social media.
Are you going to leave us?
No.
You getting too big for us?
But I will share my talents with the NFL if they would like. You know? If the NFL wants to put a microphone in my hand, I would take that.
Dangerous for everyone.
For everyone. But also it could be a lot of fun.
For
right?
you.
Yeah, and for listeners and viewers and everyone along the way.
Definitely. It will be the Pat Show as a reporter.
Well, nobody needs that, right? Nope. Here's what you need to know if you report on the NFL for any of these networks. it's about the NFL. It's about those players. It's about the coaches. It's not about the. Nobody's there to see. Like,
Just give him the prize. You're lobbying hard. Give him the what do they give the crown?
I don't know.
Give him the crown.
I'll take it.
A sash.
The Iraq.
Yeah. Is it a sash or a sachet?
Yeah. Do you think I know? You know who would know? My wife would know. She likes the pageants.
That girl would know more about a sash or sachet more so than she knew about Iraq.
About the Iraq?
The Iraq.
Well, listen, I probably would too. I know a little bit, but not enough to be dangerous. All right, when we return, we'll continue talking about the Rays ballpark saga again today. But on the other side, we're going to talk about the Buccaneers because they're heading towards a playoff game on Sunday.
Pat and Aaron Show on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
Pat Aaron, 95.3 WDAE and AM 620. Thank you to Colin. I think he's the one who texted in as well. But Colin sent us the ESPN post on Instagram with Mike Evans and me saying to him about fans following him into the casino. Aaron, I don't know if I appreciate this. ESPN put, a reporter was worried fans were going to follow Mike Evans into the casino.
You were very concerned. You called me after the game. You're like, dude, I don't know what to do. I was like, what a win. You're like, don't worry about that win. Don't worry about that. You're like, Mike's going to the casino, and I'm really worried fans are going to follow him there. I said, buddy, don't worry. This team just won 4 straight division titles. Mike's going to be fine.
It was pretty funny that I commented on it, and I was like, don't put your thoughts in my head. I wasn't worried at all. I wasn't worried at all. I was very happy for Mike Evans.
If they collaborated with you or something, that would have been nice.
Well, how the hell were they? To be fair to ESPN and the NFL, who also shared it, and the NFL, who shared my question about Payne Durham throwing his touchdown pass into the crowd last week. Like, how are they supposed to know that's me?
Because we all know you. We all know Pat Donovan.
They should know who I am?
Yes.
Right, fair enough.
Yes.
Hey, on the caller screen right now, the caller screen, Leonard is on hold. It says he wants to ask Aaron a baseball question. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to let him hold until the 7 o'clock hour, and then whenever you want to answer Leonard's baseball. I feel like he needs to be punished, Aaron, because for some stupid reason, I was dumb enough to say, yeah, sure, maybe we'll play Stratocaster with you one day with the kids, and then next thing you know, every tweet is about this stupid Stratocaster game.
Stratomatic.
Whatever the hell.
Stratocaster's a guitar.
I mean, is it driving you crazy yet, Aaron? Because it's
no, I didn't even know. I hadn't even seen that.
How do you not see anything that gets tweeted at you?
This is the problem. I don't know why you have to mute people, and I just ignore. If I see Rays fan Gio, it's like the boy who cried wolf. Like there are people like Caden. When Caden tweets me, you know what? I love Caden. Caden doesn't tweet me all the time, so I'm going to respond to Caden, most likely. Sometimes I don't respond to anybody. It's just how it goes. When I see Rays fan Gio tweets at me, most of the time, just ignoring it, he's the boy who cried wolf on Twitter.
Yeah, no, I ignore it too, but it's just like maybe, I don't know, it'd be nice to, like, every time you pick up your phone, not see a tweet from the guy.
Stratocaster sounds fun, though.
I mean, it sounds less fun every time he tweets about it. What sounds more fun is a Buccaneer playoff game this weekend, and they're taking on the Washington Commanders. And I said before the break, are they playing the Washington Commanders they played in Week 1? Because clearly they are not. And Todd Bowles, he mentioned that yesterday when talking about the matchup.
It was his first time starting the first game. They're a lot different. They're a lot better all the way around. You know, we're a different team and they're a different team, so it'll be a tough ball game. He can beat you a ton of ways, from the pocket, out of the pocket, with his leg, with his arm. They got a lot of characters around them that can really play ball, so it's going to be a tough game.
I like that he said a lot of characters, Aaron.
I mean, is he wrong?
He's got a lot of characters around him.
He does. And you know what he means by that.
Of course.
You know what he means by that. It's like a Chip Ahoy's moment. He's absolutely right. We've talked about this. This is a completely different Washington team than this team faced in Week 1. And by the way,
they always say you're not even a rookie anymore at this point.
Also, but you know what? On the flip side, I think it's a completely different Bucs team that Washington's playing. They have evolved as an offense. We didn't know. They didn't know what Liam Cohen and this offense was going to be able to do, and they turned in one of the best offensive seasons we've ever seen, if not the best, from a Buccaneers team. So they have evolved as an offense. Now the defense, we can have conversations about how they lack a lot of things on defense right now, and a lot of that's due to injury, but some of it isn't. So that we can talk about, but as far as the Buccaneers and Washington being both of them, just different teams than Week 1.
Well, so there's some good and some bad to being different teams, right? Now, the bad is you don't have Chris Godwin. That is a difference you're not going to make up for, and even though the offense has evolved, that is a loss. That said, when you look at Week 1, first of all, Baker Mayfield was fantastic. Is one of his better games of the year, actually. He was 24 of 30, 289, 4 touchdowns. Unbelievably efficient in the first game of the season. But you look at the rushing attack, for instance. 15 carries for Rachaad White, Bucky Irving with 9 carries. Talk about not knowing what you had yet. You're right. They didn't know what they had in Liam Cohen. They also didn't know what they had in Bucky Irving for week 1 of the season. So it will be, in my opinion, and I think you agree, Aaron, a completely different football game, although I'm still very confident in the Buccaneers.
Yeah, and you talk about Jaden Daniels, of course. When you're talking about a rookie quarterback and the position of quarterback, that for him to evolve is a huge win for Washington, for him to have the season he's had. But just from going back to week 1 when you're a rookie in week 1 to a rookie that's now made the playoffs and going to get offensive rookie of the year, everything he's done, he's just been incredible. You look at the Buccaneers and you say, okay, well, you mentioned Bucky Irving. You think Graham Barton's a little bit more evolved from week 1 to now?
Without question. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the offensive line, which has been such a strong suit for this team when they're not committing penalties, and then Bucky Irving behind that line. All right, so now you have 2 rookies who are on that offense who are going to make a huge difference compared to
Jalen McMillan.
And Jalen McMillan as well.
Jalen McMillan. So you're right.
And it just goes back to the draft class that Jason Light had. Obviously, we talked about Braswell and that so far being disappointing, but everything else has been just awesome.
Second-year guys as well. When you think about Cody Mauch and others, like this is a young football team that is way different than it was earlier in the season. The injuries concern me for sure. When you look at the way they played defensively on Sunday against the Saints, that won't cut it against Washington this coming Sunday. Now, I think they're going to get Antoine Winfield Jr. back. I think he was probably pretty close this last week, and they felt like they could probably get by without him, and they did, although it was a lot closer than we all wanted it to be. I would be shocked if Antoine Winfield Jr. doesn't find his way onto the football field on Sunday, and he should make a huge difference. But they're going to have to figure it out defensively because they're definitely going to be down some people. And we've seen at times where that's really made them look pretty bad, including this past Sunday, and at other times where they've really figured out a way to stay on top. And one of the ways they've figured out a way to stay on top, Aaron, is Baker Mayfield. And you know what? He might have amazing numbers overall. They, in my opinion, when it comes to this football team, numbers obviously are important. They almost pale in comparison to what he does as a leader and the way it rubs off on his teammates. And Todd Bowles talked about that yesterday as well.
I mean, it's huge. We got a lot of fight. And when Baker shows that on the field and he's the leader, when he's doing the little things like diving for fumbles and trying to block down the field and doing those type of things, everybody else looks at it like, why not? Why can't we do our part? So it kind of buys in, and the relationship we've had for a couple of years now has been outstanding. Love having him around here. Love doing everything he's doing. Love the way he handles the team. Everybody's bought in, and, we're all in the same boat.
Pat, that's not a shot, obviously. That's not a shot at Tom Brady, but could we look at that as Bucs fans and be like, that wasn't Tom?
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's just not, first of all, at the stage of his career he was in. I mean, we talked about this before last season, right? We talked about the big difference before last season that we would get with Baker Mayfield, not even knowing how successful he may or may not be. We talked about the last year with Tom Brady. He had pretty much given up on this football team. He wasn't going to get himself killed for the offensive line that wasn't going to do a good job in front of him, right? Baker Mayfield the next year was going to kill himself to earn a job in this league. So from that standpoint, just completely different players, and especially because of where they are in their careers.
We just witnessed this regular season, so I'm not going to talk about last season, but this season, put Tom Brady in there, even, I mean, I guess, like, let's go Super Bowl. Put Tom Brady in, Pat, his best season he had statistically with the Bucs when he was humming. I don't know if they win the division this year.
I don't know, man. It's so hard, dude, because it's just, I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can do that because Liam Cohen cannot call the same offense with Tom Brady that he does with Baker Mayfield.
Very fair.
Right? It's everything is different if Tom Brady is still here.
But think about the quarterback that he is, and think about
the quarterback he was when the year they won the Super Bowl. Yeah, I think that dude could have had a lot of success with these guys.
But Baker's tossing the ball just as, I mean, he's throwing the ball at an elite level, right? The difference is 3rd and 14. When
Tom Brady ever have 15, 16 interceptions?
That's not his style.
Well, that's my point. Nothing is the same if Tom Brady is here.
There's
But
some
the idea that
runs-
he couldn't have a lot of success behind this offensive line with this run game and these receivers, I think is silly.
It's not that. It's I think about the moments in which, and think about it. I mean, every game, this season, the last couple seasons, and even with Tom, like every game is so important because it comes down to the end.
Here's what's
Baker moves it with his feet, and he has that moxie, and Tom was never going to do that.
Here's what's really important, being that it's 6:46, Aaron. One of the things we didn't know about Tom Brady's rookie season is he was dealing with a knee injury. A lot of us deal with knee injuries, and when we do, we could just hang around hoping it gets better, but that's not a good idea, especially when you can get it taken care of with world-class orthopedic care right here in your own backyard with Florida Orthopedic Institute in partnership with Tampa General Hospital.
Yeah, if you're dealing with that injury, it's been nagging you for a while, don't wait any longer. Book that appointment today to access that world-class orthopedic care right here in Tampa Bay. Call 1-800-FL-ORTHO or go to floridaortho.com.
All right, when we return, Corey in Nashville is on hold. We're going to talk to Corey, and we're going to tell you about a guy who kind of needs to
Bay, the Pat and Aaron Show on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
Aaron Jacobson doing Safer at Home radio for one more day. We think we're going to have him back in studio. Aaron, I made an executive decision for the show. I hope you're okay with that.
Sometimes I'm not. I'll have to hear it first.
So our friend David Hersey, who I know you know very well, he is probably the league leader in Goon Squad merchandise purchasing. When we had the website up for shirts and stuff, you could purchase. He wanted to visit us one day in studio with a little something. I'm trying to look at what he called them. Candied ribs.
Yeah.
Are you watching the YouTube, Aaron?
No, hold on. Let me get it.
I know you usually watch the YouTube while we're on the show, and you can kind of see them. I'm putting them in front of the screen. They look ridiculous. They're like barbecue ribs, somehow with like candied bacon and jalapenos.
Hold it up again?
Oh, yeah.
I can't see it. I'm watching on YouTube now.
They look ridiculous. There is a small delay, but
they look so good.
Yeah. So he's gonna bring those in.
Good executive decision.
One
that
day.
I agree. Hold on. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. Feed me all. You can feed him to me, David.
So yeah, that might be happening in the very near future. Just so you are aware. And Doug Wechter, if you're listening, I believe that's going to happen on a Wechter Wednesday. And I said you might have to bring a couple extra for Doug, and he said I will bring plenty. Corey in Nashville, he always brings plenty to the table when he jumps aboard. Corey, good morning.
Morning, guys. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Real quick on your Tom Brady and Baker Mayfield point from the last segment. I think if Brady is our quarterback based on how this season is gone, I'm going to be honest, I think we'll probably have 2 more wins. I know you like Baker Mayfield and his feet, but if you go back and watch some of those games, man, sometimes he misses reads and he uses his feet to kind of get out. He probably runs into the sack sometimes or does some things like that. I think some of those reads Tom will hit. Like, I think we beat San Francisco if Tom Brady's a quarterback, just based off how the team played and how we had opportunities to win. But anyway, I digress. I just wanted to make that point. Also, this is a point I wanted to make yesterday about Jason Light. Man, if Jason Light is the GM of the Cowboys, any of those New York teams, any big market team that's in the NFL, he's going to win Executive of the Year probably 4 to 5 times.
Keep that
in the
to
last
yourself.
5 years.
Keep that to yourself, Corey. We don't need anybody getting any ideas.
It's Mike Greenberg we should really be. I'm not worried about Jason Light. It's Mike Greenberg I'm worried about.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't keep everybody, right, man? Hopefully, what I'm hoping, there's somebody in the building that was a Mike Greenberg Jr., if that makes sense, like somebody that's been studying the same way he's been studying and been able to work the cap the way he's able to work the cap. Usually that's what happens. You have people in place to do things almost like a quarterback.
Yep.
That's his succession. Last point, the Commanders. I always tell my players as a coach, I say, hey, we win with humility and we lose with pride, right? That kind of keeps you right there focused and balanced. I'm going to be honest. We being objective about my team, we came into week 1 fully prepared to play against the Commanders, and I'm going to tell you why we have to give ourselves more credit as a team and as a defense. I know it was early, and it was only week 1 in Jaden's career, but they scored a late touchdown there. That score was 37-13. We demolished that team, and they went on to win their next 4 games and average about 32 points in those games. So he didn't go from not knowing how to play or not knowing the game in week 1 to all of a sudden averaging 32 points a game and winning 4 straight. So we got to give our team a little bit of credit there of being prepared for the type of quarterback that Jaden Daniels is. Now, is he better? Is the team better offensively? Of course they are. They proved that in the weeks right after week 1. But just, I'm gonna give myself some credit and a little bit more objectivity about the team. We've got to figure out a better way to use Rachaad White. He had over 1,000 yards all-purpose again, and he had 9 touchdowns. Without Chris Godwin, we can't just forget about that weapon that's on our team. We have got to find a way to have better uses of a guy that has over 1,000 all-purpose and 9 touchdowns. That's my call.
Corey, good phone call, and I agree with a lot of it, man. And I think you're right about Tom Brady and some of the things he could have done for this team. By the way, one of the other differences, and I think this is a big one in this matchup, Aaron, one of the other differences from week 1, a guy that we didn't realize we would miss as much as we do since he's been out is Servassier Dennis. Had a big game that day.
Yep, no doubt.
Had a sack.
No doubt.
Had 7 tackles, second on the team in tackles, 5 solo tackles. Servassier Dennis was a guy that was really performing earlier in the year, and we miss him, and I think we'll miss him on Sunday.
It's where I struggle, though, of like, okay, Jason Licht did an incredible job building this team, but you got to think there are some misses on defense. If a guy like that, and I love Servassier Dennis, but we are talking about a guy, an undrafted guy, and you can look at it as, hey, great job to go get that guy and bring him into this organization.
Servassier Dennis.
Oh, sorry. Not Servassier Dennis, my bad. But to bring with Servassier Dennis, to get him going and the expectations, we didn't have the expectations for him that he's showing up like he's done.
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, he was a later round pick. He was a 5th round pick, so he wasn't
fifth round,
not undrafted, but he's a 5th round pick, and he's turned into a guy that, again, we missed dearly and was off to an unbelievable start this season.
And my bad. In my mind, I was thinking Christian Izzian.
He was an undrafted free agent. And, again, I don't know. Both of those are, whether it's the 5th round for Servassier Dennis or bringing in Izzian as an undrafted free agent, I think both of those are very solid moves. The biggest miss, I think, early this year when you're talking about the draft so far has been Chris Braswell, although I still have some optimism about what he can become. He's still a rookie. But overall, I think he's done just an exceptional job. But Anthony in Dade City, he wants to get in on the Tom Brady versus Baker conversation, which I'm shocked we're having today, to be honest. Anthony, good morning.
Good morning. How you guys doing this morning?
We're well.
Okay, so I love Baker Mayfield. I'm happy he's our quarterback and he's our franchise now. But you put Tom Brady in with this offensive line, and he's going to tear people apart. He is a master at anticipatory throws.
I think you're right.
Baker has a little trouble with that, and he's not as accurate on the deep ball as Brady. So I think, Baker's getting better, but it might take a little bit of time. I'm thrilled that he threw 41 touchdowns. That's amazing. I didn't expect that, but I knew he was going to have a better year this year than he did last year.
Yeah, and Anthony, thank you for the phone call. I think we all expected that, Aaron, right? I mean, I think with the second year, the continuity, even though it was quote unquote a new offense, just knowing the guys around him, I thought we figured he'd be at least a little bit better, and he's been a lot better.
I think Baker Mayfield, when it comes to the season Baker's had, Pat, do you remember a couple of weeks back we were talking about the way things were, the trajectory of his stats? It was like, okay, he might have a 40-20 season. That would be amazing if he threw 40 touchdowns, but 20 interceptions can't happen. He cut down on that interception rate, but was still throwing the touchdowns. So gets over the 40 touchdown mark, ends at 16 interceptions, doesn't get to that 20 mark.
All right, Robert Kraft was the guy I was going to say needs to shut the hell up. We had some audio for you, but we like talking to you guys more than we like talking about Robert Kraft. Maybe we'll get to that later in the show because I thought his comments on Gerard Mayo were pretty silly, to be honest with you, the way he blamed himself for it. We'll get into it later in the show, perhaps. But when we return, it's time for a little more Buccaneer talk, but also we got to get back into the conversation about the Rays and the sudden change of heart, it seems, on Tropicana Field. Also, Leonard, we'll see if Aaron wants to take your question about baseball. Eric
against Washington, and we have some audio from Todd Bowles, but we also have some people waiting on the line. We've got some Rays news, the latest on the Rays Stadium saga, and this one involves repairs to the Trop. So let's start. Actually, we'll start with the Bucks, and then Gio, hang in there. We'll get to the Rays in just a few minutes here, and I want to get to some Todd Bowles audio. 888-546-4620.
Knowing Leonard, Aaron, it's not even a Rays question. It says baseball question. It's probably about Stratomatic or something ridiculous.
So we'll hold the Stratomatic question until the end of the segment here. We'll start with Eric. 888-546-4620. Good morning, Eric.
Hey, good morning, fellas. Hey, listen, I wish they let Tom Brady die. Tom Brady ain't even no Bucks fan. Hey, this weekend, Tom Brady made a comment about the Bucks when Baker got up and they had a little altercation that, they should calm down. He didn't want them to calm down when he was here. Ask Byron Leftwich if he thinks Baker Mayfield or Tom Brady. Byron Leftwich ain't had a job since then. Bottom line is, let me tell you something. I work in a spot where a lot of Bucks come through. And, I had a customer ask one of the tight ends, who would he choose, Baker or Tom? He said, well, I'm going to choose Baker because I didn't play with the GOAT. I played with Tom Brady. Hey, listen, that last year, Tom went 8-9. Tom didn't want to take no legs.
Yep.
Hey, listen, he wasn't able to make no plays. So, hey, listen, don't kill me with this conversation. The 2 years here, Baker Mayfield's been here. He's won more games than Tom Brady did his last year. So don't be confused, Bucs fans. We got the best person for the situation. And like I said again, Tom Brady's not even a Bucs fan. Some of the comments he makes, hey, listen, it looks like
but that doesn't Eric, in the conversation about which of them would be better in this offense, whether he's a Bucs fan, it's irrelevant. To be honest,
Baker went to a different, and thank you for the call. It's a good call. If Baker went to a different team, like Baker's not a Bucs fan. Tom Brady played the majority of his career and won most of his rings with the Patriots. So I don't put too much stock into that. What I look at is, and my eye test, Pat, when I'm thinking, how many third and longs have we seen this season where Baker just used his feet to extend the sticks in very important moments in the game, and you just replace Tom Brady with that, and he's not doing that. It's as simple as that.
Well, he's not, but I think he's doing a lot of other things that Baker doesn't. Again, that's a really good offensive line, and when we had Tom behind a really good offensive line, he threw 43 touchdowns. I do think he's in 2020, which is the comparison you made, he's a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield right now, and potentially ever will be.
Let's go to Steve in Tampa. Good morning, Steve.
Hey, good morning, Pat. Good morning, Aaron. I was going to call because I was actually upset that we were talking about Brady when this is Baker's team, but the last caller, kind of calmed me down, giving some voice of reason. But anyways, we got so many things to talk about with the playoffs coming up. We could just leave the Brady fanboys. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say it like that, but we could just leave that alone and just be happy that we got Baker. But yeah,
if anything, what I was trying to do was if anything, prop up Baker, because I do think, and Pat and I disagree with it. And it's hard to really, and Pat said it right. It's hard to really compare it and throw Tom into this offense because it does look completely different and it's run completely different. But also, I want to commend Baker for taking this team and doing different things with it and taking them to a new level post Tom Brady, which could have been a disaster. It has been anything but.
Oh, you know what? I think I just came in at the wrong time because I heard the fans kind of like jocking Brady. I didn't really hear that part of the conversation. I just heard the fans.
Steve, people aren't jocking Brady to say that. You're talking about the guy who's the greatest quarterback of all time. You can be.
Yeah,
it's
no
like
doubt about it.
Steve.
No doubt about it.
Steve, it's like when people criticize Baker when he does things wrong, or if there's things that are missing within his game. Doesn't mean they hate Baker Mayfield or they're hating on him. People are being honest about their feelings about the game, and that's okay, dude.
Yeah, that's okay. I just defended Baker.
All right.
He's done so much for us last 2 seasons.
We love Baker. We love Baker.
Hey,
you can have an honest conversation about people that you love.
Steve, appreciate the call. Yeah, you do. Pat and I do it all the time. All right, so want to get to this audio before we get to Gio here and get to the latest on the Trop. Todd Bowles. Okay, so the Bucs have.
Do you want one more call? Because we just got one on this conversation.
Absolutely. Before we move on,
Casey, is it BB? Bebe? BB. Good morning.
Hey, yeah, good morning, guys. Yeah, my whole insight on this whole Tom Brady Baker Mayfield discussion is pretty simple. I think nowadays if you want a quarterback that's going to win in the game now, obviously you're seeing the game change drastically. You're going to need a quarterback that's mobile, that can move, that can do things like that. Yes, hands down, right now, Baker Mayfield is a quarterback that the Bucs would have to choose over each other there. Tom Brady, maybe 5 years ago, yes, he's guaranteed over Baker Mayfield, hands down. But the game's totally different now. If you can't run, you can't play as a quarterback really in this game.
Yeah, I disagree with that, BB, and thank you for the phone call.
I mean, listen, we saw it with, I know they battled major injuries with the Achilles, but Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, they're just pocket passers, and it didn't work out for them this year, and I think the game has evolved.
It's changed, but those guys are completely immobile this season. Like, they looked like old men. Yeah, you can't look like you're ready to retire, but I think you can be a pocket passer and win in this league.
Give me a guy. Okay, so the one guy who I look at is like a guy who doesn't use his feet and just has been tremendous, maybe one of the best at it, which is crazy to think where his journey has taken him, is Jared Goff.
Jared Goff doesn't really beat you with his legs, and he's been, one of the most efficient and best quarterbacks in football for the last few years.
But look at the best ones in the league. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, even Patrick Mahomes. They'll kill you with their feet.
Yeah, they can beat you with their feet, but all of them can also beat you from the pocket, right? And I think all of them are going to be decent quarterbacks, even when they're not going to be using their legs as a weapon as often as they do right now. As they get older, if they play for a while, I think Pat Mahomes, I think Allen, I think Lamar, all of them are going to be able to perform from the pocket.
So I was getting into this before the last call. The Bucs, they have faced, first of all, in the playoffs, they have been through it in the last couple of years. They are playoff tested. They've battled. They've won 4 straight division titles. Baker Mayfield, this is his 2nd straight division title for this team. And you also look at the teams they've battled this year. They have battled they beat the Lions, right? The 2 teams that are the best in football they've played against this year in the Eagles and the Lions. You've played Kansas City close. You had some tough games where you were right there and you hung in there. So they're battle tested. Todd Bowles talked about who they played and really who they played in the playoffs in recent years. Here's Todd.
Not really. In the playoffs, it doesn't matter. In order to get to where you want to go, you got to face them all anyway. Whether you played them or didn't play them, they're all good teams in the playoffs. We think we're a good team as well, so we'll take whatever comes in front of us.
See, I disagree, Pat, in a way, because he's right. You'll have to take whatever comes in front of you. But also, I think when you do, even though it's different parts of the season, earlier in the season, when you have faced teams that are the best teams in football and you've competed with them, and in some of those games you've beat those teams, I think that says a lot. It does say a lot, and it gives the team confidence as well.
Well, yeah, and listen, you're going to play great teams in your schedule, and if you don't beat some of them, you're not going to be in the playoffs. So you're going to be. That's just kind of part of the game at this point. Like you're going to have played good teams on your way to the playoffs. What's interesting, and it was a different clip that I was actually looking for when I put the sheet together. He had talked about how they have played almost everybody in the playoffs, which I don't necessarily agree with when you look at who's in and who they've played. They've played a lot of the teams in the playoffs without question.
Lions, Commanders, Eagles, and by the way, beat all 3 of those teams.
That's right.
Yes, it was early in the season, but even if you look on the other side of the conference, you look at the AFC, the Ravens, the Chiefs. Yeah, they are battle. They have faced a lot of playoff teams. They beat the Chargers. So every playoff team, whether it's the AFC or the NFC, they've either beat them or competed with them. The worst of those games was the Ravens. They weren't really competing in that game.
His overall point of the quote that I was actually looking for was that anything can happen come playoff time. And even though they've played just about everyone, like anything can happen come playoff time. And that we've seen over and over again, whether it was the 6 seed New York Giants or the Arizona Cardinals, like teams that you don't expect to get to the Super Bowl. The 2020 Tampa Bay Buccaneers going into the playoffs. People thought they had a shot because they had Tom Brady. Not a lot of people were picking the Bucs to go to the Super Bowl. And then going into the Super Bowl, and I understand why a lot of people nationally were picking the Kansas City Chiefs. So come playoff time, you get in the dance, you get hot, which this offense certainly is. Even though this past Sunday they didn't look that great, you've got a shot.
Let's on the other side, I want to get into the latest on the Tampa Bay Rays and how their leadership has once again changed their position. This time it's when it comes to the repairing of Tropicana Field. But before we do that, Gio's been hanging in there. Gio wants to get on the line to talk baseball. I have no idea what else aside from baseball he wants to talk about. What's up, Gio?
All right, my theory is Caden and my boy James know more about baseball than you and Pat. So therefore, Caden put together a Hall of Fame lineup that includes Willie Mays, Ken Griffey, Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth. It's unbelievable. And they want to play you in a game of Stratomatic baseball. So my idea is I'm available next Monday and Tuesday. We got to pick a location to meet. Maybe you can get on the phone with Tim.
Do you regret this as much as I do, Aaron?
Yeah, gee, I have COVID, man.
No. Next week.
I'm gonna have. It's gonna be lingering.
He's got long COVID. Have you heard of long COVID? Aaron's got it
for a year.
Listen. We need to get this done before baseball season, so it's a long-term thing. So don't worry about that. Okay. But the point is you guys need to put together a Hall of Fame lineup. And I tweeted at you what their lineup is, and then I did a little mock lineup. Maybe one of these Wechter Wednesdays in the next month or two, you guys can come up with Hall of Fame lineup.
All right, buddy. Thank you, man.
Thanks, Leonard.
Thank you.
That was valuable to the show.
Well, what he does is now I'm not going to bring him on again for a while because I lose he's the boy who cried wolf. And I lose faith and trust.
He's the boy who cried Stratomatic.
And I feel bad because I should probably know what Stratomatic is or how to play it. I have no idea. What I do know is now the Rays, they have an idea, I guess. They now want Tropicana Field repairs done in time. This hour's coverage brought to you by Epic Health and Fitness. Real goals, real gym, real results. The Rays, when are we going to find results on if the Tropicana Field repairs are going to be done and have the team ready to play there come opening day for 2026? Yes, that is the latest news. That's what the Rays now want. And I know a lot of you are thinking, wait, I thought that's what they didn't want. I thought Brian Auld, the Rays president, came out and said that there's no need to do that. There's no point. Well, yeah, that did happen in November. Now, fast forward to where we are now, early January, and the Rays have flip-flopped on that stance. And Major League Baseball, they're expected to hire an independent advisor to monitor this process here. Colleen Wright, once again from Tampa Bay Times, doing a great job reporting on all of this. But, yeah, we saw in November, the Rays thought, there's really no point to this. But now that the vote has gone through, the bonds are in place there. It's we're set, and now it looks like, and everything's been approved, and everything's a go. Now
is it a go?
It should be. It should be a go because you think about it.
Go.
It's a slow go. The deadline isn't really when everything needs to be started is by March.
Have we been told when shovels are going in the ground yet?
No. And that, I think, is the most frustrating part is because I don't know what the Rays want. And, Pat, to be quite honest, I don't even know if the Rays know what they want.
I think they know what they want. They want more money. And I think at this point that's unfair. And I've been very much in the Rays' corner through a lot of this. When I just thought the vote needed to go through, I was like to the St. Pete Council and the Pinellas County Commission, I was like, just get off your ass and do your job. Stop delaying this thing. And then they did their job. And at this point, the ball's in the Rays' court. And it's time to get this thing done. Stop letting it linger. The last thing we can do is get anywhere near spring training with this thing still up in the air.
Auld said at the time he believed it would be next to impossible. This was in November, for the Trop to be repaired in time for 2026, and that the Rays would have to come up with a backup plan. He said at the time, quote, that to me, it feels like a bad use of funds across the entire group, end quote. So what has changed?
I don't understand that.
What has changed?
Well, I told you what's
January.
changed.
Money. Okay, so they want more money. This is an insurance.
Well,
deal.
no. When it comes to the Rays and Tropicana Field, I said the point that I thought they were making, and that Brian Auld was making when he said it didn't make sense to fix Tropicana Field. I think he was saying it doesn't make sense to fix Tropicana Field if we're not going to be here beyond 2027.
Yeah, but why would he say it would be next to impossible for the Trop to be repaired in time for 2026? That is specifically about Tropicana Field. That is not about the other stadium.
Yeah, that I don't know.
So it's a very, very strange, another strange twist and turn here. And Pinellas County Commissioner Chris Latvala, who is now a hero, he posted on X. He said, looks like a long road trip to start the 2026 season is in order. Also, sell the team, Stu.
Oh, man.
So
I don't know what they're going to do. They got to figure this thing out.
And another great point by Chris Latvala, Commissioner Chris Latvala. He said on Twitter yesterday, it took 21 days after the Pinellas BOCC delayed the bond vote, right after 2 hurricanes, for the Rays to claim the project would cost another $200 million and be delayed a year. It's been 21 days since those bonds have been approved. When does the construction start? Rays baseball.
It's a hell of a question.
It's a great question. The urgency. Oh my gosh, this 21 days. I even made fun of it about how all these lives were ruined because the 21 days has changed everything. Well, what happened in the 21 days since the bonds have been approved? What about the changes there and the hundreds of millions of dollars it would cost for those delays?
Now,
what happened?
I'll tell you this. I agreed with the tactic because I think it was a tactic and one that was maybe needed when the Pinellas County Commission was sitting on their hands to say, hey, this needs to get done or it's going to take too long and cost too much. Like I understood that tactic to get it done. But again, then it got done. And now the tactics should be out of the window. Tactics should be gone. From here on out, it should be, how do we work together best to get this thing done? And by the way, when I say that, it doesn't mean to pay for the overages because that should be on the Rays. It was on the Rays in the deal to begin with. It should still be on the Rays. And even if it wasn't on the Rays, here's the thing. Even if that wasn't written into it that the Rays were responsible for overages, after 2 hurricanes that set the community back as much as it did, how dare you ask for more money?
And on top of that, I think, and this is my personal opinion, I think there's an opportunity here. We're going to see them play at Steinbrenner Field this year, which I think is going to be unique and very cool. We all know that open field, it doesn't sustain here in Florida, and the schedule is wonky for them with a lot of home games heavy early on in the season, which is not in their favor. But why not just accelerate the process? Why do we have to do repairs to the Trop? Knock that sucker down and accelerate the timeline of the stadium so you don't have to wait until 2028. You can get that done by 2027. Now, am I an architect? I don't know, but really,
that
2
doesn't
years,
sound feasible.
Get it done in 2 years. How is that not feasible?
Because has a ballpark, has a major project like that ever happened in 2 years?
We've been through this before, and yes, it has. How long? Google knows this.
To me, if 3 weeks changes it by a year, I don't know how we're supposed to all of a sudden, if they're saying now we can't get it done until 2029, nobody's going to say, yeah, we can get it done in 2027.
From start to finish, this is what I'm seeing here on Google, 18 months to 3 years.
I want to see a actual completed project that took that little time. I feel like buildings take that long half the time. I drive around Tampa all the time on roads that have been under construction since I moved here 18 years ago.
Listen, have you not seen?
Have you been on Bruce B. Downs?
I have.
It's been under construction since I moved here 18 years ago.
It seems
That's one
to
road.
me that you have not watched Field of Dreams.
Well, listen, if you want to build a little cornrow ballpark, we can't grow corn here, can we? Was it corn? I don't even know if it was corn.
It was corn.
If you want to go build a little nonsense field in some corn, yeah, well, I think we can get that done pretty quickly.
Get Kevin Costner down here to rally the troops.
I also
Where's
think
Costner when we need him?
I also think it is probably, and again, neither one of us are architects. Neither one of us are smart enough to actually understand how to do any of this stuff. But I imagine where you're putting a ballpark or stadium, which a lot of times might be in an area where there isn't as much significant traffic. I imagine when you're doing it in a fairly populated area, like a downtown type area, where by the way, the ballpark is still going to be across the street and you have to build temporary parking. I imagine a lot of that it impacts how long it will take. By the way,
Ken Hagan just texted us. Atlanta's ballpark was built in 2.5 years. Somebody texted that we should call Ken Hagan. Ken, text us back right now real quick before the break. 2 years. We can accelerate that. Atlanta's is an insane, that area, that's transformed that area. We can do that in 2 years. We're better than Atlanta. If you didn't know, go see on Instagram at 95.3 WDAE how much better than Atlanta we are, because we don't celebrate accomplishments that are meaningless.
That airport is so bad. I can't stress it enough. I hate that airport.
I don't think he knows what Instagram post you're talking about, Aaron.
I know what you're talking about, but I'm just saying Atlanta is in no way, shape, or form what Tampa is in any way.
Ken, quickly text in 2 years, yay, nay. Can it be done in 2 years? Yay, nay.
But
even 2.5, yeah.
Can it be
2.5,
done
but even
in 2
2.5
years
will be
in
ready
Tampa?
for the. Yeah, Ken, steal this thing, man. What are we waiting for?
Have you? Well, listen. You're going to get on Ken. Have you followed up? When's the last time you texted Ken
I
Hagan?
stopped texting when the bonds vote went through.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How's that coffee?
Really good.
I feel like you're getting too comfortable at home now. Slurping away in the middle of a segment.
I've had a rough show, too. I've got brain fog, man. It's a real thing.
Yeah, I thought
my ears are still
listen,
popped.
you can't sit here and bitch about your popped ears and your brain fog and then argue that you should be back at work tomorrow.
No, I'm going to be back at work tomorrow.
Well,
I've
then
got
shut up about your symptoms. You got to know how to do it.
It's not symptom. I'm going to take a test. It's long vid. Should I do a COVID test right now, live on the air?
Oh, I think that would be thrilling radio. Although, honestly,
I'm going to break, and then I'll do it on the other side, like at the end, and then I'll just come back with the results.
We had a phone call yesterday, and also Leonard's phone call that were both way more boring than you taking a COVID test.
Ken says their stadium deal was brokered in 2 months.
Well, let's broker.
Broker
let's
away.
broker.
All right, we'll broker on the other side. We will, and he said tight. 2 years is tight. No, I said yay or nay, not tight. It's going to happen. All right, we'll continue on the other side. We'll get back into the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well.
And AM 620.
Welcome back. This hour's coverage brought to you by Epic Health and Fitness. Real goals, real gym, real results. And the NFL job openings, well, we knew most of them, to be quite honest. Going into yesterday, We knew the Saints, the Jets, and the Bears, they fired their coaches during the season, so we knew about that, those openings. But then we only saw on Black Monday, very quiet day, Pat. We saw the Patriots and the Jags fire their coaches, Gerard Mayo.
And really not even the Patriots, because that was on Sunday night, remember? That wasn't on Monday.
It's true. It was right after the game. I mean, Robert Kraft let Gerard Mayo know right away. He's like, you will not be returning next year. That must have been awkward.
Yeah, I was in the booth doing the post-game show, and TJ Reeves came back in and showed me his phone, and it showed that Gerard Mayo had been fired, and I was surprised.
I mean, I wonder how long Kraft knew that he was going to do that. It wasn't just sudden. The Patriots go out there and win a game at the end of the season. They make their draft order worse. They hurt their draft selection, but they go out in there and get the win. And I think Robert Kraft has known for a while that Gerard Mayo is not the guy for this job. It's going to be really tough. A guy who has been in that organization as a player, as a coach for a very long time, and he was supposed to be the successor, handpicked to Bill Belichick. And I guess when it's not going right, it's not going right, and you got to cut ties.
I guess. It's been several years in a row now that somebody's been fired after one season. I still think it makes you a bad organization.
Yeah, and his explanations for it after and how he's talked about it after, a bit cold, a bit callous, but I guess, this is a business.
I wouldn't necessarily say that. I think that his comments that we have, and I got some audio earlier, Aaron, I think we should play it now just because you said that he blamed himself for putting Mayo in a bad situation.
Let's get to Robert Kraft.
This whole situation is on me. I feel terrible for Gerard because I put him in an untenable situation. I know that he has all the tools as a head coach to be successful in this league. He just needed more time before taking the job. In the end, I'm a fan of this team first, and now I have to go out and find a coach who can get us back to the playoffs and hopefully championships.
And you're right, callous isn't the right word to use there, but also, I mean, it's easy to say.
Sounds sad.
Boring. Yeah, but it's easy. It's easy to say it's on you, but he didn't. You could have given him an opportunity to keep going if you wanted to help give him those tools you're talking about.
I think he sounds
but you're
like an
not
idiot.
willing to do that.
I think he sounds like an idiot, Aaron.
Why do you think he sounds like an idiot?
Jared Mayo didn't just walk in the door, dude. Gerard Mayo didn't just walk in the door. The guy had been there. You should know who he is. If you're just going to hand the reins to the guy, you better damn well know whether or not he's prepared for the job. And if you're ready to go with a young coach, I've said this a million times. If you're going to go with a young coach, prepare for him to have some bumps in the road and learn the job. And if you're not prepared for a dude to do that, then don't go with a young coach. I'm sorry. I think you sound like a complete idiot if you're Robert Kraft and you're like, oh, sorry, guy wasn't ready. Well, you should have known that. And the organization should have known that.
Especially with a team that was handed off to him from Bill Belichick that wasn't very good as far as the roster, and they had a rookie quarterback as well. So I agree with you, and I think this only hurts Gerard Mayo in his future endeavors as far as getting a head coaching position, because when a guy like Robert Kraft, you mentioned it, been in that organization forever, your family, and he cuts ties with you after one season and goes, well, I've seen enough, that's not a ringing endorsement for you. But now we've got the Jags job opening as well, because we broke that on the air yesterday, Doug Peterson getting fired. Now, the Raiders, you can look at them and Antonio Pierce. I personally think that Antonio Pierce is safe.
It looks like it at this point, yeah.
Young roster. They fought for him. They were in games. They won some games. They did fight for him, and that tells me a lot about a team and the direction they're going. And I personally like Antonio Pierce. I think he's staying. I can't tell you what's going to happen with Mike McCarthy. His contract, Pat, is expiring with the Cowboys. They'll have an opportunity, first rights, to get back at him and retain him. But there are rumors swirling now that the Bears they've asked to interview McCarthy.
Are you surprised by that?
Yeah, I am.
Me too.
That's a guy you're going to go with when you're talking about trying to save the confidence and career of a young quarterback in Caleb Williams and a team that has a lot of weapons and actually could win now if they had the right coaching and it added a few more pieces. I don't love that.
I said when Dallas signed Mike McCarthy, and you'll probably remember this because we were on the air together when we found out, I was like, this is a guy that, to me, even though he's won a Super Bowl, is a very uninspiring hire. And I didn't. And listen, we're hearing that the Cowboys have played for him, and there's a lot of guys that want him back. but I thought it was an uninspiring hire for the Cowboys, and I'd find it to be an uninspiring hire for the Bears, who I think a lot of people view as the best opening right now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the Jaguars are interesting if you believe in Trevor Lawrence as a quarterback. They've got a lot of disarray there as well, but if you believe in a quarterback, then you go out and you say, that's who I want to build my career as a head coach around.
I'd have an issue going to Jacksonville if I was a qualified head coach who had multiple options because of the fact that Trent Baalke is still there. The fact that Trent Baalke has failed as often, remember, not just in Jacksonville. This is a guy who did a not-so-great job in San Francisco before John Lynch took over there, all right? And a guy that they chose over Jim Harbaugh and probably regretted that decision. And then he goes to Jacksonville, hasn't done a good job there. He's the guy that hired Urban Meyer, right? And then he hired Doug Peterson. And now you're going to let him hire another dude? Like, how is Trent Baalke still employed?
This is a really important conversation for the Buccaneers because the more job openings there are for head coaching positions, the greater chance that Liam Cohen is taken away from the Buccaneers, and we all know that cannot happen. That is so important to retain Liam Cohen, whether it's the offensive coordinator or for some of you as the head coach of this team. But I think a lot of us are in agreement that he cannot be taken away from this team. So you look at teams like Dallas, if they get rid of McCarthy, who would they go with? The Jets, the Saints. We just talked about the Bears. The Patriots, I think we all agree that Mike Vrabel is the leader in the clubhouse. It makes the most sense. So he's got the head coaching experience. I think that we can look at that and say we feel comfortable Liam Cohen's not going to go to New England. But
I would hope not. I don't know how Scott Reynolds knows this, but he mentioned on the Insiders this past week, and this is not information that I knew.
He's from that area.
Yeah, I didn't realize that he apparently looks at that as like the job he kind of would like most.
Well, remember where he went to college? He went to UMass.
I did not realize that. I had forgotten about that.
Played with Victor Cruz.
Yeah. So I just, to me, didn't he played somewhere else in college too, though, right? He didn't. I don't know. Maybe I'm out of my mind. Anyways, regardless, I didn't realize he viewed the Patriots job as like the job he would like the most. Now, I think I agree with you and most people that they are probably looking at Mike Vrabel as the guy. But if you're going to interview multiple guys, you never know. Mike Tomlin was not the favorite in Pittsburgh until they sat down with him. And that's my concern, is that if Liam Cohen gets an interview, even if he's not the favorite there, that he might blow someone away.
The Jets are going to be very interesting to see what type of splash they want to make. Rex Ryan is in the running. A lot of people think Rex Ryan's the favorite.
He certainly does.
We're going to get into this in the 8 o'clock hour, but the Jets are a very interesting job to keep an eye on. And is Aaron Rodgers going to be back with that team? How is that? I mean, it's very, very bizarre what's happening in New York and what's going to happen there. Wait till you hear this in the 8 o'clock hour.
There's just so many ways you can look at that Jets job, Aaron, when you think about, like, on the one hand, dude, it's New York. It's New York. It's really difficult, in my opinion. It would be really difficult to turn down the opportunity to work in New York. And then on the flip side, Woody Johnson.
Yeah, well, it's not Woody; it's his teenage son.
Well, oh my God, yeah. Well, apparently Woody's turning down deals because of Madden. You know what I mean? So,
do you know how bad it is when you have to see a report? Top story on ESPN: Woody Johnson says that his teenage son is not part of the team, not part of the decision making process. You're like, what? What?
Apparently, the kid's running around acting like a real douchebag too.
Well, yeah, like if you're making decisions and you're 17, 18 years old and you're running an organization like the Jets, you're like, yeah, I'm calling the shots. You're telling all your buddies on Facebook or whatever these kids are using these days.
It's a bird. No, it's a plane. No.
Who are you supposed to be?
It's your friendly neighborhood situation man.
Time for Situation Men, and this hour's coverage brought to you by Epic Health and Fitness. Real goals, real gym, real results. Casey Warner, what do we got today?
Let's go. First things first, Pat Donovan asked the question. Mike Evans responded about going to the casino, and everyone can't get to where he's going, so I think we know what he's talking about, the high roller room, some kind of suite, some kind of penthouse, something like that. So with that being said, which place would you rather be and why? With Mike Evans at the casino or with Jason Light at the Bucs playoff game on Sunday?
All right, well, here's the thing. I can't be with Jason Light at the Bucs playoff game because I've got work to do. I've got to be in the press box. I've got to do the pre and post game show. So Jason
cool.
and I, we can't really hang out, right? I want to hang out with Jason Light, but it can't be at the playoff game. I'd rather hang out with Jason Light. I think it'd be a blast. But in this situation, I got to take Mike Evans at the casino because I can't do the other.
No, that's not. You always get mad at me. That's not the game. Take yourself out of what you would be doing. We get it. You're busy. You're working. You're doing a great job. We love you. And I know that's not what you were doing. I'm just making fun of you.
Beers with Jason Light.
Beers with Jason Light. Exactly. That's what, because based on the answer from Mike that we got from yours, hey, people are going to be, now that people know you're going to the casino, they're going to follow you there. Mike's even responded with, no, they're not going to find where I'm going or something like that. They're not going to be able to go where I'm going. That's true. So Mike's, he wants to hang out with his family. He doesn't want to hang out with Joe Schmo, me.
Right.
Jason Light, he wants anybody who's got good energy around him at that game. I promise you, that's the type of guy that Jason Light is. In my very, not too many interactions with him, but all of them have been fantastic.
Aaron, when Rock was in and you were out last week, I had said to Rock one day, like, man, one of these days Jason Light has to go get beers with Aaron and I. If he's hanging and drinking with Lee DeKemper, he's got to drink with us.
Listen, Lee DeKemper is above us on that, so I don't know what you mean by that.
I love Lee, but I'm just saying, you and I are good hangs.
So, yeah, I'm going to go with Jason Light at the Bucs playoff game on Sunday.
Okay, gotcha. Next one. I told Pat Donovan yesterday when I left here I was very hungry. I was in the mood for some chicken, and I went the fast food route. Got to stay on that budget. So I went to the local Church's Chicken in town, town and country. Only my third time going, and there's a reason I've only been there 3 times. I was sitting there for about 20 to 30 minutes, and bless the workers' heart. They just opened, whatever, barely spoke any English, and just trying to get my food and go. But what do you all think is too long to be sitting at a fast food restaurant?
I've been through this before. It's a tough call because if you've waited like 10 minutes before you've paid, and you're just waiting in line, and you've ordered already, and you're like, this is ridiculous. I've battled before of like, do I just leave? But then I know they're just stuck with that order and no one's going to get it. I think 10 minutes is fast food. It's fast food for a reason. 10 minutes. 15, I would like a free something.
Yeah. I at first I wasn't sure what you meant. I thought you meant like sitting there after you ate, like hang out as long as you want unless somebody's waiting for a table. But
waiting for your food.
Yeah, it shouldn't be more than like 7 to 10 minutes. It's fast food for a reason.
And if it's 15, I think they should bring you like an extra something for free. But if not, I'll be like, hey, I just waited a while. Can you give me something?
You straight up just ask.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, interesting.
And I didn't even get my full meal either. I really wanted the baked mac and cheese, and she didn't even ring it up. And by the time I got my food, I was so done. I was like, just forget it. So it was good though for the time that I spent there and the trouble they caused. Well, like I said, bless their heart. I know the situation. I've never worked in a fast food. Hey, bless their heart. I've never worked in a fast food restaurant, so I can only imagine what they're going through.
Hey, to all the people that work at Church's Chicken, bless your heart.
Bless your heart, really. It's not a job I would want, but thank you for your service. All right, so next topic here: which coach do you believe is safer after a loss in the wild card round? Mike Tomlin or Todd Bowles?
Casey, is this a real question?
Yeah, it's a real question because both of these coaches have been talked about being on the hot seat all season long.
Please. I had the same reaction when Mike Tomlin was allegedly on the hot seat years ago.
It's the Steelers we're talking about here. Sixburg.
Yeah, they do. They stick with
the place
their
that
coaches.
never fires anybody.
Yeah.
But it's Sixburg. They haven't won a Super Bowl since 2010.
First of all, what a terrible nickname. And if
I
you're
know.
not from Pittsburgh, I wouldn't call them that because it sounds absolutely ridiculous. But they don't fire people, dude. They don't. They stick with people. And Mike Tomlin, if he gets fired, he's getting hired by someone else within about 35 seconds.
I'm sure he will.
It
but
is
I mean,
not even close.
Trust me.
It's not even close.
I have a couple Steelers fans that are close friends of mine, and they're not happy with Mike Tomlin. They really aren't, especially late in the season.
I think you can make the argument that Mike Tomlin has done the status quo. They've made the playoffs, but they've been a mediocre team that's made the playoffs for years. Or you could look at Todd Bowles and be like, hey, that's a team that after Tom Brady has done some really good things. They've won divisions, and I don't think it's the dumbest question in the world because of the rumblings we've heard from Mike Tomlin. I disagree with you on that, Pat.
I wouldn't call it the dumbest question in the world. I don't think it's close.
But if you look at what's happening and what's happened in Pittsburgh, like they went out and got two quarterbacks who had failed elsewhere, in Russell Wilson at the end of his career and Justin Fields, who is trying to figure out in his career. They were winning with Justin Fields, but they weren't winning and dominating. Then they made the switch to Russell Wilson. For a while, they did dominate some games, but then they went back to now they're just mediocre. They make the playoffs in a tough division year after year after year. They finish above 500. They did it with a lot of instability at the top position of quarterback this year. That defense, I mean, T.J. Watt. That team plays for Mike Tomlin. It would be silly. The message is not stale. If the message was stale, they don't make the playoffs this year in a tough division. They did.
Yeah, no, I mean, nonetheless, he's been a great coach. He's never been under 500, so you can't deny that. And before we wrap up Situation Man, I do want to get into this because this is spicy. The big headlines over the past couple of days is there is a lawsuit now out in Fox Sports in the name of Joy Taylor. And what this lawsuit entails is it was filed by, sorry if I mispronounced this, Nushin Faraji. She worked at Fox Sports from 2012 through last August, and she was once friends with Joy Taylor, and she now filed a suit that says there are serious allegations involving Joy Taylor. The executive vice president of content, Charlie Dixon, and Skip Bayless allegedly had some fun, slept apparently with Joy Taylor, and it is said that Skip Bayless even paid about $1.5 million for this to happen, and that is now why she is a host on the show Speak. So in this lawsuit, there are different names that are alleged to be in this conversation, Emmanuel Acho also being one of those. And, you know, with this being said, we all know what these guys look like. I think you've seen the picture of Charlie Dixon floating around on social media, have we not?
He's a strange-looking man.
Yeah, interesting-looking fella, and we know what kind of turkey gizzard Skip Bayless has. So with those two pictures in your mind, what's harder to believe in the case of Joy Taylor, who's a very fine woman, very pretty lady?
I got to be completely honest with this, especially when it comes to Charlie Dixon. I don't want to speak on it because I don't know too much about it. Like, did I see some of the allegations? I did. Very hard, personally, not saying it didn't happen, but it's hard for me to believe people would be, especially men, would be so stupid in this day and age. And this was after the allegations were Me Too era and after. Skip Bayless, you'd have to be such an arrogant you-know-what to think you would get away with that in this day and age. That's just me. I don't.
But that's not know. Answer the question, though. Which is harder to believe? Joy Taylor with Charlie Dixon or Joy Taylor with Skip Bayless?
Oh, just by the looks of Charlie Dixon, the fact that I don't know who he is, don't know much about him, Charlie Dixon is hard to believe. Skip Bayless is a guy who is, whether you think he's attractive or not, he's a name, he's a guy with money, he's a guy with power, and that wins a lot in this country.
Yeah, I don't think you can actually say which is harder to believe without knowing the people involved, because that has a lot to do with it, right? I think all of it is hilarious. I think this woman who dragged Joy Taylor onto the bus with all this stuff is pretty miserable. Like, what a terrible thing to do. Like, I don't know. I think this whole thing is weird, but which one is more surprising? Yes. Like, you look at these guys.
Right.
You're right, though, Pat. That's for Joy Taylor to speak on. Like, whether you agree with, listen, if you're having consensual sex, you're having consensual sex. Now, if that gets you to the top, I don't know what the legalities around that. Doesn't seem like it's the right, ethically, it's the right thing to do. But Joy Taylor hasn't said anything about it. right? So if Joy Taylor hasn't said anything about it, she might not have. If these allegations did happen, maybe she doesn't have a problem with it. But even if she does, it's up for her to talk.
She was back on Speak yesterday, and she was looking very church-like, very reserved, and I think there was no coincidence there, you know?
All right, that situation, man. Great stuff, Casey Warner. On the other side, we'll get back into the Buccaneers.
WDAE St. Petersburg, an iHeart radio station.
Hour number 3 of the Pat and Aaron Show, 95.3 WDAE and AM 620. Aaron, I'm so torn right now because we've got callers on the line. We've got to talk about what's going on with the Rays in Tropicana Field. We also have a Buccaneer playoff game on Sunday. But the clip that Casey Warner just showed me from Jason Whitlock talking about the Joy Taylor situation. Have you seen this, Casey? You got to find that for
We
us.
playing it, baby. We playing it.
Yeah, Aaron, have you seen this yet?
No, I once again, I followed this a little bit. I saw Jason Whitlock was going viral. I didn't watch it because a lot of this stuff, it's just going to be like allegations and just crazy stuff on Twitter until we actually find out, if ever, what really went down.
Well,
so, usually I'm interested in this stuff. For some reason, this one has just been a little too salacious for my liking.
It's really weird that you're not. There's no allegations here from Jason Whitlock because he only talks about himself, but he's such an honest guy. I find it hilarious because the reason I played the Gronk laughing clip before the break when you were like, oh, I'm really surprised that in 2025 guys aren't smarter than this. Dude, guys will never be smarter than this.
Why?
Sex is undefeated. It always has been. It always will be. We cannot, guys are idiots,
Why?
dude.
Humans are animals, and animals need sex to survive. That's why,
you can get
Aaron.
that everywhere. Like that, you don't need to be doing things that are going to ruin your life, and it just makes no sense to me. Or a 1.5 million, and some of these numbers, like the numbers that people pay out in settlements for sex, is just the most insane thing in the world.
Well, I don't think that was supposed to be a settlement. I think that was supposed to be a negotiation. That's a totally different thing.
Regardless, fine. Like,
But
nothing is worth it. Like, no,
dude,
sorry.
Yes, guys should be smarter than that. We screw up all the time. Guys screw up all the time. The reality is they're not smarter than that. They never have been. They never will be. And for you to be surprised by that is silly.
How do guys make it to the top and get to where they are by being so stupid?
Because
it's all about who you know, man.
Until like recently, nobody really cared. Everyone was like, guys, they're such guys. And now all of a sudden they're like, oh, holy crap, this is pretty poor behavior. Wow. All right, but you gotta listen.
This is awesome.
You gotta hear Whitlock because this was probably the funniest comment about the whole thing.
I know what I'm capable of. And that big rack of hers that she showed off constantly. It's just, and that peanut butter skin with that big rack. Like, Jay, keep your distance.
Oh, my God.
What a guy.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I mean,
X has been a wonderland the past couple of days. And, like, some of the when she was on Colin Cowherd, just some of the clips are endless, man. It's hilarious.
Idiot. Well, he's an idiot. It's the equivalent of saying she asked for it. All right.
Oh, hold on. That's not what he said at all. He said, I know what I'm capable of, so I need to keep my distance because of how good she looks. He didn't say she did anything wrong.
Which is 100% fair.
I think that's unfair.
Play it one more time. I can't believe I asked for that.
I know what I'm capable of. And that big rack of hers that she showed off constantly. It's just, and that peanut butter skin with that big rack. Like, Jay, keep your distance.
He is disgusting. He's just such an such a slut.
Here's the thing, like I just showed Pat this. I just walked in, we had a little conversation about it. You look at her on any given show that she's been on, and I mean, she's displaying it all, baby. Like, she looks good. But then you look at her yesterday after the whole thing and she's on Speak. She looks completely different. Like, she's dressed completely different. So he has a fair point. He has a completely fair point.
I don't know. I mean, like, guys wear suits and girls don't. Like, some girls do, but the guys aren't going to be showing off their attributes, I guess. But, I mean, maybe the craziest thing of all is that Jason Whitlock actually thought that he would have to keep his distance as if he could ever get with anyone like Joy Taylor.
Well,
hold
on. You don't have to get with somebody to do something stupid. He can get himself in trouble without having to get with somebody. And also, by the looks of Skip Bayless and this other dude, if the allegations are true, maybe Jason Whitlock had a shot.
I mean, oh my God.
On the Bartow Ford DA text line, okay, that was one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Gross misogyny. Do I not understand what misogyny means?
I mean, it's a disrespect and hatred of women.
But that wasn't...
It was disrespectful.
I suppose you could say it was disrespectful.
I mean, suppose. Are you out of your mind?
He was saying he couldn't control himself. That's not a...
Did you
saying
listen
bad
to
about
the
her.
first? Did you listen to the first part of it?
He likes peanut butter skin, man.
Misogynist, a person who dislikes, despises, or is strongly prejudiced against women. Listen to, or a person who discriminates against women. Listen to it. I can't, once again. Listen to it again.
On the Bartow Ford DAE text line, Casey, maybe it was cold yesterday.
I know what I'm capable of. And that big rack of hers that she showed off constantly.
Come on.
It's just,
I don't know.
And that peanut butter skin.
Her
with that
peanut
big
butter
rack.
skin.
Like, Jay, keep your distance.
Like, he looked at her not as somebody who was as his equal. He didn't know any of these stories, right? He just looked at her as somebody who had a great chest and the skin color was so to his liking that he had to stay away.
On the Bartow
he's
Ford
not
DAE
looking.
text line, since when is Aaron so PC?
It's not she's an object to him. What are you, an idiot?
And here's where the industry is kind of, it's very interesting because you look at someone's resume like Joy Taylor before she got into any of these shows. She doesn't have the education. She doesn't have the experience. And she got there, so it makes you question how.
Wow.
So it's fair. It's fair. Some of us have college degrees in this and, haven't made it that high, so it's fine. But, good for her, man.
First of all, being a professional athlete's sister will get you opportunities alone.
That's what I'm saying. It's all about who you know, and it's all about, some of the circumstances sometimes.
Aaron, I'll say this. I say Casey's questioning whether or not she slept her way into opportunity is more misogynistic than Jay Whitlock saying, I couldn't stay away from her and not do stupid crap because she's got a, what?
Casey's not a misogynist. He's just against all humans.
That's right, I am.
That's it. He's somebody I know is just somebody who's like somebody had to do something to get there. What we're hearing from Whitlock and these guys, they're all just, listen, I'm not a PC guy. I guess I am a little bit, but only because I've been trained that way, unfortunately. But when I can spot a gross dude, right, from a mile away who's just making me uncomfortable. Yeah, a guy like Jason Whitlock looks the way he does and is walking around like, I gotta stay away from her because of her chest and her skin. You're a gross human being. That's it. It's as simple as that.
I feel like we've known a few of those guys.
Yeah, and they make me very uncomfortable.
All right,
listen. I understand. I have my thoughts and things I act on, whatever. But I like to think I'm a decent human being and a decent guy. What we're hearing from these guys, these are not good guys.
When we return, Hammer, Ron, Daryl, we see you there. We'll try to get to your phone calls. We will certainly do that on the other side. Also, the latest on
Back to the Pat and Aaron Show on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
All right, we got a lot to get to here. We're going to talk Bucs football with J.C. Allen at 8:30, and if we have to, we can get into the Rays ballpark stuff during the blender. We'll get to some of that stuff here potentially, but we see your phone calls also on the Bartow Ford DAE text line. This is peak Pat and Aaron Show, man. I'm dying. You're welcome. Also on the Bartow Ford DAE text line, a really good question, actually. What does it mean when Aaron asks about a man's junk? So why is it okay for you, Aaron Jacobson, to so often bring up other men's junk when it ends up being accidentally put on television? Yet when Jason Whitlock mentions Joy Taylor's features, that is terrible.
If there was a slip, right, a Joy Taylor slip, right, a la Janet Jackson.
So then you'd be fine with it. You'd be like, let's talk all about her boobs.
I would comment on it, yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Now, you had said to me you thought your mom was going to call in.
Yeah, she texted me during the break. I don't know, man. She thinks I'm a wuss.
Is that what it is?
I don't know. What did she text me that was like, she's like, that's not misogyny. She was like mad at me for defending Joy Taylor. And she's like, and women don't objectify men. And
oh, God, Mom, I love you so much. Thank you for bringing some reason to this conversation.
Good morning. Yes, I've interrupted my walk with the dogs, and I've seen something I've never seen in 30 years here, which is a dolphin walking right. Oh, I'm sure the dolphin wasn't walking.
Don't get distracted. Why are you getting distracted?
I'm sorry. Okay. Because the dolphin was so beautiful.
Great.
Okay, I'm not getting distracted. Okay, so I'm sorry. I hate this conversation because you guys need to grow up, okay? I know that we have to be politically correct, but if you don't think that women dress the way they do, not just for themselves, but to be attractive. And if you don't think that being attractive it gets easier for getting on in life, you're dreaming. We'd love it to be all, neutral in terms of where you get, but that's not the world. I'm sorry. I didn't see the horror in what you played.
It's just he's gross. It's not that it's horrible. Maybe misogyny was too strong, but he's just gross. Like he's just a gross dude.
How is this gross? Saying she's got a big rack and she's got beautiful skin.
And he's got to stay away and keep his distance because of that, because he can't control himself. Yeah, that's gross.
Aaron,
like just have some freaking control.
Aaron, think about who you're talking about. Who you're talking to. Your mom will very happily tell you how she likes some peanut butter skin and may notice a little other package or thing going on with a gentleman.
That's true.
You got it. And not only that, but you don't think that women use everything they have to their advantage? I'm not saying that it's right, but actually, you know what? It is right. It's fine.
Is.
Whatever you've got, use it to your advantage.
Yeah, but so do men. It's just like we don't we're not as beautiful as women, so we're not going around showing off our package because no one wants to see that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I would disagree with you. I mean, well, okay.
I've gotten comments at gigs before. It's okay. It's fine.
Casey wants in.
It's women's part, but anyway. Sorry.
Listen, maybe I'm a wuss. Like, I don't, should I? All right, so Mom, I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to say everything that comes to my mind when I see a beautiful woman. I'm just going to blurt it out.
It's not about saying it. The fact is, you guys are all thinking it. Us women are all thinking it. So it's the way of the world.
Yeah, just control. Yeah, control yourself. That's all I'm saying, Mom. Just control you control yourself.
Okay.
Hey, by the way, Emma, before you go, Thursday is Dignitary Thursday. Last week on the debut of Dignitary Thursday, if you missed it, Ian wanted to make sure that we said hi to you.
Yes, I did. You think I've missed Ian on the show? Seriously?
Listen to the way she sounds, Aaron. Her heart is fluttering.
I'm not even listening. I'm reading the text line. I'm just getting shredded. Like, I don't know. I'm going to man up. Fine. I'm going to say it all. I'm just going to say everything that comes to my mind from now on, people. Okay? That's it.
I'm going back to my dolphins spotting. Bye-bye.
Yeah, love you, Mom.
She's in La La Land with dolphins. I can't trust anything she's saying.
Wow, this is a meaty one.
I don't know what to do anymore. My mom's throwing me in a mental blender. She's like, just go for it.
And
just be all disgusting animals.
By the way, Danielle on the not Daniel, Danielle on the Bartow Ford DAE text line says, I agree with Emma. This is just like when we talk about women's sports, and I tell you women don't care about women's sports. This is like women don't want us to be such pussies, Aaron. That's the truth. They don't want that, all right? I know it makes a lot of younger people feel better, and they feel like it's going to help them because women want us to all be that. But you know what? The truth is they don't, dude.
My favorite text is the beta side of Aaron is actually fighting for dominance right now.
And then this is where I'm in a mind warp. I feel like maybe I'm just trying to be this respectful just so I can get the hottest women in the world to love me. And I'm like, that's not even I'm becoming a wuss. I'm in like a little vortex right now. I don't even know how to get out of it. Like, obviously I feel the way I feel. Like I see beautiful women and I think they're beautiful. Right? But I just don't say it because I've been trained to not say it. But now, like, you're telling me, and my mom, I think, is telling me I should say it.
Welcome to the new year, baby. It's 2025.
What kind of example is this for Casey, for young Casey Warner?
I know the generation.
He doesn't need any examples.
I know the generation I was brought up in. It's okay.
I mean, I do have these thoughts, but I'm like, if I say these thoughts, these beautiful women that I want to get with, that I respect so much, won't want to get with me if I say the thoughts.
Or they won't want to get with you if you're being a P. Daryl's in Tampa. Daryl, take us away from this. Let's talk a little sports before we get yelled at, I guess.
Well, I don't know about sports. I feel like listening at your conversation, I'm channeling Marlon Perkins of Mutual of Omaha. Today, we shall examine the mating practices of the species known as human beings, especially the female. She has a rack and peanut butter skin, pearly white teeth, a hair hat, fake hazel eyes, and she's attracting the male. Listen, look at her gestures.
I love you,
ladies
Daryl.
and gentlemen, right now. But yeah, let's go to sports. Hey, Todd Bowles, you gotta change up stuff. This team has talent, and we're going to prime time, and you cannot go out there and lay an egg against. Come on, we got the team that's the hungriest, who wants to go ahead, is going to prevail. Okay, you can't go down there, and you got to make Washington pay. You got to get a touchdown. We can't settle for field goals. I mean, you got to put it on them. That's what I got to say, guys. Y'all have a wonderful morning.
Thank you, Daryl. Yeah, you want the fast start. We talked about it last week. It didn't happen last week, but I think it's even more important this week, obviously at home in a playoff game, and they've been really good when they score first, and last week was the first time they won all season when they haven't.
I can't even think football right now. I'm so mentally I'm in a blender. That was
I love
a lot.
it so much.
And I don't know. Somebody on the text line's like, Aaron's having an identity crisis. With my midlife crisis last week, along with my identity crisis this week, yeah, it's all mashing together here.
I'll tell you a guy that will never have an identity crisis, nor will he be as soft as you ever, Aaron Jacobson. It's the Hammer.
What's up, fellas? The text line is on fire today, and we know both of your parents, Aaron. You know, like, where does this come from, bro? You know, I don't get it. It really doesn't make any sense. You know, if we didn't know your parents, it might make some sense. But we know both your parents, and it's hilarious. But fellas, back to the firing of cannons. Okay, Mike Evans. I thought Bucky screwed him on that touchdown, man. I was crying in the stands when Bucky scored. Thank God we got Mike his 1,000 yards. Yeah. We will be in history books forever. All right, guys, I think with the $3 million we wanted to give Mike, I think they'll have no problem paying Liam Cohen. That's just me being an optimist, okay? I'm hoping they make him the highest paid OC in the league, and we can go back-to-back. Hopefully we make a long run this year.
Be a smart move.
I'm called the Hammer. I'm called the Hammer because they gave me the nickname while I was building the Hard Rock.
Oh, wow.
And I actually put in all the elevators at the Hard Rock. There's 2 elevators the public will never see. They come from the back of the building. They go up to the 16th and 17th floor. 16th floor is all suites. The 17th floor is half suites. And the south side of the building is actually, on the 17th floor, is all VIP gaming.
That's where Mike was.
As soon as I finished it, they said, yeah, absolutely. As soon as I finished it, they said, okay, Mr. White, you can leave now, please. So
forever.
Yeah,
you never came
where
back.
They bring, yes. I will never be allowed back, Aaron.
That's
but
great.
I do know, and I helped build where Mike Evans was. So let's fire some cannons, fellas. Let's go into next week. Hot and ready, boys. Let's go.
Love it, man. Pat, I can only imagine because I'm
Thanks,
at home.
Hammer.
This is hopefully my last day at home. Actually, I'm about to take a COVID test.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do that. I'll do that during the next. We'll come back with results at the end. If it's negative, I'm back in studio tomorrow. Yeah, I wonder what people are thinking if they're walking by my. I'm right by the door to the hallway. So, I mean, that must have been a very awkward conversation if anybody heard it.
Yeah, you know what? I hope your boy across the hall heard it, Sean Mania. I hope he's like, wow, this kid's even weirder than I thought. We'll speak to a guy who is weird sometimes and sometimes just drops rhymes for us. JC Allen, Sports Illustrated. He joins us next in the Pat and Aaron Show for some Bucks talk, we promise. Although, knowing him, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets into Joy Taylor, too.
Tampa Bay Sports Radio, 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
Hey, it's Mark with PG Men's Health. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? We've got a groundbreaking solution that's transformed the lives of thousands of men. Our acoustic wave technology is backed by over 50 clinical studies, including research from Cambridge University. It revitalizes blood flow by repairing blood vessels, all without the need for pills or the worry of side effects. If you're ready to get the blood flowing where you want it, when you want it, call us now. Not only will you get the exam, the assessment, even the blood flow ultrasound completely free, but for those who call today, we're also throwing in your first treatment free. This is worth hundreds of dollars, and it's yours free if you call in the next 2 minutes. Call 877-755-MENS. That's 877-755-MENS. Guys, it's time to reclaim your love life and put an end to your erectile dysfunction. Call 877-755-MENS. Locations in both Tampa and Sarasota. Call PG Men's Health now to qualify. 877-755-MENS.
Celebrate the new year in a new Mazda from Mazda of Clearwater with rates as low, if I could speak, as 0% APR on many models. Find out for yourself why Mazda of Clearwater is the highest volume and highest Google-rated Mazda dealer in the Tampa Bay area. That's right. It's not just me saying they're the best. It's everybody on Google as well. So find out for yourself why it's the best car buying experience you'll ever have on US 19 just south of Roosevelt and East Bay Drive or online at MazdaofClearwater.com. But I really do suggest go in person and find out why it's such a great car buying experience.
Hey guys, T-Kraz here. Air and water are two things a certified Rude Pro partner knows an awful lot about. And now you know. Rude Water Heating is the industry leader for total water heating solutions. You need conventional tank type water heaters, tankless water heaters, replacement parts and accessories for all categories. Rude is a one-stop solutions provider. And with the exclusive backing of Ferguson HVAC, certified Rude Pro partners get the best products and parts. Hit them up at rudeacflorida.com.
The music we listen to all year long. The anthems that were our soundtrack for 2024. They not like us. And the stars who made the songs we love will all be celebrated.
Let's get it started.
March 17, live from Los Angeles. Coming back to Fox.
Be here as our 2025 iHeartRadio Music Awards nominees are announced Thursday at 9 a.m.
It's better over here. If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has an exclusive rate plan just for you. Right now, get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings versus Verizon and AT&T. Plus, you can get one of the latest 5G phones free when you add a line. That's right, a free 5G phone. Experience all this and more on America's largest 5G network. So why wait? At T-Mobile, customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Just go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 or visit your local store to make the switch.
With AutoPay using debit or bank account plus taxes and fees, 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Free phones up to $300 off with 24 monthly bill credits and qualifying new line for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Contact us before canceling entire account to continue remaining bill credits. Bill credits end if you pay off device early. See details at T-Mobile.com.
Bobby Maggie here. Create tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars in potential tax savings. Learn how
You see.
The North remembers. The North remembers.
Yeah.
So the South remembers watching the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take the division on Sunday. It wasn't as easy, JC, as we thought it was going to be. When did you start to feel like they were going to win this game, or were you never nervous that they were going to find a way to pull it out?
As soon as the Saints scored first, I was like, well, time to do something they haven't done all year is win when the other team scores first. And it wasn't really until Bucky's touchdown, I think, where I was like, all right, they got this. Because it was just one of those games where you knew it was a divisional game. You knew the Saints were going to play them tough. It wasn't going to be a rollover. You go back to last year, they beat the Panthers 9-0. Bucs have a tendency to play down to their competition. But as soon as Bucky scored that touchdown, you knew, okay, this is it. It was still a little nerve-wracking because it was only up 8 points. Saints need a touchdown and 2-point conversion, but you still felt okay at that point, I think, even though Saints were getting the ball back with plenty of time. Fortunately, the defense did their thing, and the rest was history, literally.
The last line I saw on this game was Buccaneers favored by 3.5. Of course, they're going to be at home. They've taken care of business against Washington, even though that was week one. Both these teams look completely different, especially Washington as the evolution of a rookie quarterback. That's just something that, the Bucs don't have that. So what do you think? Do you think that line is right, JC? What do you think happens in this game?
I think that's just a normal, home team favorite line. You know what I'm saying? It's the Commanders are a tough team. Yeah, the Commanders are a tough team. They're top 10 in offense, top 5 in scoring, top 5 and top 3 in rushing. Their offense is legit, and Jaden Daniels continues to pull off this late game magic. He did it last week, thankfully, against the Falcons, and then this week he did it against the Cowboys, leading them on last-minute scoring drives. The Bucs are going to have to play A-plus quality football. You can't have 12 penalties for 90 yards. You can't have an interception or any fumbles or anything like that. You got to play really sound, fundamentally, technically sound football, or else this team will make you pay. They match up pretty well against them in certain areas. Certain areas, you're hoping, Winfield Jr. and Jamel Dean are back, and these guys can get the pass rush going. But there's a lot of problems that Jaden Daniels, not to mention as a runner, can offer, and it's going to take a full game. None of this half a game, second quarter defense comes alive, or the offense comes alive and then goes dormant. It needs to be a full game if the Bucs are going to win this game on Sunday.
Well, you can't say Jaden Daniels, right? Outside of Jaden Daniels, what worries you most about the Commanders team heading in here on Sunday night?
Terry McLaurin. He makes me nervous a lot. Zion looked like an all-pro at the beginning of the season, has had some struggles recently, had some great plays, but also had some struggles this past game, and he's just been on another level. I guess that's an extension of Jaden Daniels, right? Because without him, he doesn't get the ball. So, that front four or front seven is still really good with Frankie Luvu, Bobby Wagner, and everyone on it. There's just a litany of playmakers, and they can rotate them in and out with Darren Payne and Clem Farrell, Jonathan Allen, Dorrance Armstrong, Dante Fowler Jr. They've got guys, Johnny Newton. They got guys who they just keep sending. And I think if you're the Bucs, you look at this front and you rain on them in week one. You look at this front, what they've done. They haven't been great against the run, so I think you need to go against them. But they're going to present a lot of challenges with passes over the middle and getting pressure on Baker. And, unfortunately, maybe causing some Baker sacks.
JC, what happened? What happened at the beginning of that game for the defense? Obviously, the offense, that's something we're not used to seeing, but the defense looked like they were ready to go, and honestly, the last many weeks, they've been ready to go in the second half. Why aren't they ready to go to start the game?
Yeah, that's the question, right? And Bowles will tell you that, they're just settling in. I don't know if it's lack of preparation or if it's you do have a lot of young guys in the back end. You're not seeing as much issues on the front seven, minus, J.J. Russell, KJ Brick, whoever's in there. Even Levante sometimes. But for the most part, you're not seeing much issues on the line. It's on the secondary, communicating. It's on the linebacking core.
whether you have KJ Bird or JJ Russell, some limited athletes who can't, or aren't great coverage guys, and you're getting these balls across the middle, and you're getting these guys and tackling. Tackling's been awful in the beginning of games. So like all those things kind of contribute to I think the slow start. The good news is they are settling in. They are coming out, and over the last 4 games, they've only allowed 6 points in the second half, 2 field goals. But I'm with you. Like you need to be able to start from the get-go because you're in the playoffs now. You're not playing teams who are under 500 and aren't making the playoffs. You're facing some really good teams. And like I said, again, you look at Washington, their scoring offense is ranked 5th in the league. Their total offense is ranked 10th in the league. Their rushing offense 3rd. Their passing, they're a good team that can move the ball and score points. You cannot afford to let them jump out to an early lead, play the struggle game, and try to come back in the second half, or else your trip to the playoffs is going to be a short one.
At JC Allen NFL is how you find him on X. Of course, you find his amazing work on Bucks Game Day at Sports Illustrated. JC, always appreciate your time. We'll do it again next week, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys feel how cold it is outside? It's almost like winter is coming.
Thank you. It's a Game of Thrones and Taco Tuesday. That's JC Allen right there. Always does a great job for us. Hey, Aaron, I'm realizing just now as I see this tweet on X, you would have been very proud of Bill Simmons last night. Do you remember Bill Simmons?
Yeah, I saw this. He really had a lot of restraint last night with whether it was one of the Bella twins.
Yeah, Nikki Bella. I think it's Nikki. I'm not huge on the women wrestlers, to be 100% honest with you.
She did such a twirl, and oh my gosh, did you see that? And those legs and skin and all that
she does this dance where she basically shakes her butt right in front of Bill Simmons. It was last night at the debut of Raw on Netflix, and it's at Brick Center on X.
Yeah.
And
What a name.
Yeah, they tweeted the video. So when they go to her in the crowd, she does this little dance, kind of shakes her butt, and you just see Bill Simmons next to her, just staring straight ahead as hard as any dude has ever tried to stare straight ahead in his life.
He gets it. Why do you think we're not hearing about any Bill Simmons stories?
It's because he
understands. I just took in the middle of that interview, I swabbed my nose. I took a COVID test.
And?
I'm waiting for the results. I got to wait. I timed it perfectly. So when we come back from the break, I'll be able to have results.
When we return, do we start the blender finding out that Aaron Jacobson will return to the Pat and Aaron Show in person tomorrow? Give you something to look at on the live stream other than my fat face all day.
You look great.
Oh, I know I do. I'm pretty damn handsome.
I'll objectify you.
Oh, well. Hey, listen. If there's somebody in your life that you're objectifying, I'm totally kidding.
Gosh.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But I'm not kidding when I say, can you believe 2025 is here? And a new year, it comes with new hope, new optimism, and a time to start fresh and look ahead. At International Diamond Center, they're excited to be part of your new year and the special moments in your new year. They've even expanded their selection for the new year. IDC's diamond inventory has never been better. They've got all sizes, all shapes, real, natural, precious diamonds at the best direct importer prices. And it doesn't stop there. IDC is showcasing all the new styles and trends in engagement rings and fashion jewelry inspired and created by the world's premier designers. No one has more fashion-forward jewelry than IDC.
Plus, you got to check out their Swiss watch collection. It's mind-blowing. Fabulous selection of pristine, pre-owned Rolex watches. So you're looking ahead, plan for a new year. Remember, International Diamond Center. Remember them while you're planning ahead. Locally owned, internationally connected, with a staff of non-commissioned experts. We love that because you're not going to have any pressure on you. They're just going to guide you every step of the way so you can buy with total confidence. Welcome to 2025. Let IDC help you celebrate what matters most in the new year, your love. Tampa, Clearwater, Lakeland, and Sarasota. ShopIDC.com. You really got to stick this, for the test, the COVID test. You got to get it up your nose.
You got to do it.
You're tickling. It's bad.
Does Aaron still have the Cove? Has he beaten COVID? Also, we just talked about buying jewelry with confidence. Going into the playoffs with confidence? Well, you might have more when you hear this fun fact our friend actor Owen Harn just texted me about the Buccaneers and Commanders.
95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
The Blender.
The Blender Show is brought to you by Mazda of Clearwater. Make sure you check them out for a new vehicle. Right now, many of their models are at 0% financing. Mr. Warner, what have we missed? Oh, hold on. I forgot we did have some things we needed to clear up on the other side before we get to the stories we may have missed. Aaron Jacobson, this is a drum roll.
I'm clear.
He's clear.
I'm clear. And by the way, for this person on the text line who's calling me a baby because I have a cold, I know. I listen. I tried to come in on Friday when I found out. I didn't it was for Pat and for James Scholes, our favorite Special Olympian. He was going to be in studio, and I didn't want to put him at risk.
Let's be honest, Aaron. To be more of a hero, it was also, just so you know, on the Bartow Ford DA text line, it was for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because Aaron knows I'll be near the team. And if he had come in, for instance, and then I was around the team, and then Bucs players got COVID and it ruined the playoffs, then what would you say?
Yeah, and the company policy was I have to have 2 consecutive days of negative tests, and Sunday I was positive still, so I'm psyched. I wanted to be in studio from the start. So yeah, for me, this is very exciting. Being in studio, I know for a lot of some people may not have even noticed I wasn't in studio, which is great. That means that Pat and I have been doing this for a long time together, and we know how to do this without being next to each other. But we prefer to be next to each other.
Thanks for making it weird.
Have you not heard the show today?
I feel like it's been a good show.
Yeah, it's been a great one, but it hasn't been a great start to the year for your Tampa Bay Lightning. I talked about it earlier.
I'm sorry, Casey.
Yeah?
There's one other thing I teased.
Yeah?
Our friend Owen Harn.
Oh, yeah.
Actor Owen Harn. He texted me, fun fact, the Commanders are 1-4 against playoff teams this year. The Buccaneers, 4-3.
And the Bucs are 2-1 in history against the Washington franchise in the playoffs in history.
Yeah, but that's that to me is irrelevant, right?
It kind of is, but it's good to know.
Yeah, I guess those are those stats about hey, here's what happened between 2 teams that have none of the players on them.
Yeah,
it does not matter. Literally, what happened earlier this season matters. Their records against things that happened this year, but losing 20 years ago to the Bucs in the playoffs does not make it any worse this week.
Chiefs. Oh, yeah, and I forgot about the Broncos. Yeah, they lost to the Broncos, and they got shellacked by the Broncos. So,
yep, indeed.
Rookie quarterback, Bo Nix.
And as I was saying, to wrap up the show, some stuff on your Tampa Bay Lightning. They have not won a single game in 2025 yet. They have lost 4 straight dating back to December 29th. Looking to turn that around tonight back at home at Amalie Arena against the Carolina Hurricanes. The Hurricanes come in at 24-14-2, and your Tampa Bay Lightning sit at 20-15-2. Over-under is 6 total goals, and the money line is equal on both sides at -110 right now.
Over. If the Lightning, their recipe for winning this year, score goals, which means they have to be better on defense, but when the offense is humming and that West Coast trip, all right, now you get back home, new year, start fresh, they'll be back.
I feel bad. I take the under. I don't first of all, they weren't great on the road, but I was going to say, hey, the home cooking will be good for them, but how many times have we seen this team come back from a road trip and that first game back, for whatever reason, they play like caca? So I hope they look better tonight. It's been a while, so we need them to. By the way, on the Bartow Ford DAE text line, every now and then when Casey's talking, because there's nothing going on in this room, the camera will switch to your chair, where, of course, you are not there. Tiffany in Tampa text in, your chair looks so empty and lonely.
Yeah, I want to bring it back. I want to get back in studio.
No, it's here. You need to get back.
Yeah, I need to get COVID brain still. You're going to have to forgive me long COVID for the next 3 months, everybody. Hey, a hot take here on the way out. Bo Nix will have a more successful career than Jaden Daniels.
Is that a real take?
I mean,
he looks very good. Jaden Daniels is special, dude. Jaden Daniels is special. And I know
you don't think Bo's special?
I haven't seen enough to think he is. And I don't think it. I think he looks like he could be a really good quarterback in this league. Jaden Daniels looks like a guy we could be talking about like Lamar Jackson in a couple years. That's the way I feel.
Remember that hot take, Casey?
Yeah, no, I'll definitely remember that. That's something.
That's beyond Zion will be fat hot take.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Dude, everyone was all on Zion, and I was like, that guy, and this was in college, I was like, that guy is going to be way too large and not in charge.
You know what, though? You might be half wrong. It still feels like he's kind of in charge.
I don't know.
Strangely enough.
I don't know what he's in charge of.
But, like, he's still getting paid and playing basketball, barely. Like, I don't know. But, yeah, to me, that one you could, I was hoping it wouldn't happen, but you could kind of see coming. I don't know anybody right now that thinks Jaden Daniels or that Bo Nix is going to be a better quarterback than Jaden Daniels.
Well, that's
except
why
for you.
That's a hot take on the way out the door.
It's very hot.
Studio.
Very hot. More hot takes tomorrow. We've got a lot to get to that we didn't even squeeze in today. We will be back tomorrow. Until then, for Aaron Jacobson at home doing Safer at Home Radio, he'll be back in studio tomorrow. And for Casey Warner, I'm Pat Donovan. Thank you so much to the men and women who serve our country and allow us to be morons for a living. Is that right? Is that thing on the deck? Can't be right? We're not 12 minutes over, are we?
No.
All right.
We didn't even get to the Rex Ryan stuff today.
I know. We've got a lot. Like I said, we've got a lot to get to. We got to other perverts. We'll get to that pervert tomorrow. Boom.
Boom, says Casey. Boom.
Hey, perverts. Boom.
Oh, wow. This is a meaty one.
Experience the Anajar Levine difference. Call 1-800-747-FREE.
With me today is Applied Innovation customer Brian Carter, President and CEO of Wham Print and Mail. What type of equipment does Applied Innovation provide?
Yeah, so we have 3 black and white machines from Applied Innovation, along with a die cutting machine, as well as a couple folding machines, an envelope machine, as well as 2 Ricoh 9210 color machines.
With that much equipment, service is a big issue.
And that's one of the reasons why we chose Applied Innovation, is to make sure that we have somebody that's there to back us up and give us the customer service that we need. And from the owner making himself available to us, to our sales rep, and to the customer service individuals that we deal with.
And you've benefited from the Applied Innovation relationship.
They have enabled us to be able to get into other pieces of equipment that we would have never had, which again, in turn, made us more profitable.
World-class products, world-class service. Make your business more profitable. Call Applied Innovation today, 800-521-0983, or visit appliedinnovation.com.
Most impact windows from Reese Windows and Doors are installed in just 6 to 8 weeks. Visit reesewindows.com.
Achieve real goals at Epic Health and Fitness. Experience a real gym with top-notch equipment, expert trainers, and a supportive community. See real results with personalized programs tailored to your needs. Our gyms have the best equipment, recovery services, motivational staff, open 24/7, and never overcrowded, no matter what time of year. Join us today and transform your life. Visit epichealthandfitness.com. Epic Health and Fitness. Real goals, real gym, real results.
Is your financial advisor offering you up to a 30% upfront bonus? Are they promising you up to 10% growth per year guaranteed for your retirement income? If not, you need a new financial advisor. I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. If you plan to retire within the next 10 years, don't wait only to find out it's too late. I've seen hard-working folks like you retire only to be required to go back to work, all because their advisor told them guarantees like these were too good to be true. They're not. That's up to $30,000 up front or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't work when you're supposed to be retired. And if any financial advisor tells you it's too good to be true, they simply don't have the options we do. Call Trajan today at 813-550-1000.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Today, we're the largest injury firm in the world, and I'm thankful to you for trusting us all these years. We'll always be here for the people, not the powerful. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
From the Rude Air and Water Studios, powered locally by Ferguson HVAC, engineered tough, built to last.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded. The home of your Tampa Bay Rays. We are 95.3 W237CW Pinellas Park, WRUV HD3 Clearwater, and the mighty AM 620 WDAE St. Petersburg, an iHeart radio station. You're out, you're about, but you want your Dan Patrick. Well, good news, he goes everywhere with you. If you missed the show, you can podcast it. If you want to see the show, just go to Peacock, and we stream it live every weekday. Watch past episodes, too. The Dan Patrick Show, available anywhere you are, any way you want it. Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show.
What are the Patriots doing?
The Patriots are, again, without a head coach after Gerard Mayo was fired last night.
Bringing you the biggest guests and best interviews in the world of sports.
Why are they moving on from their coach, who was a coach in waiting for a good 5 years?
The climate in the building when they fired Bill, it forced the Patriots to go to Gerard Mayo probably a good 2-3 years before he was ready, certainly before they intended to. And, there were a couple of games there at the end where you just could not see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave.
And the reason why it hurts so much is you love him so much.
This is Dan Patrick.
It's hour 1 on this Tuesday. Dan and the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show, 2 days until Penn State and Notre Dame. We'll check in with former New England Patriot Devin McCourty. He'll join us coming up a little bit. He's an analyst for Football Night in America. We have 5 teams with head coaching openings, maybe 1 or 2 more vacancies. I go back to Albert Breer, who joined us, this is a few weeks back, and he said we could have 8 to 10 openings. And I was like, that many? And it might turn out to be close to 8, all said and done. 877-3DP Show, email address, dp@danpatrick.com, Twitter handle at DP Show, play of the day, stat of the day, poll question, all of that forthcoming. Good morning. You're watching on Peacock, our streaming partner. Thank you for downloading the app. We say good morning to our radio affiliates around the country. First hour brought to you by TireRack.com. TireRack.com is the way tire buying should be. The easy-to-use tire decision guide. You see the full lineup of Continental Tires, special offers, free road hazard protection, mobile tire installation. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be. And stat of the day is always brought to you by Panini America, the official trading cards of the Dan Patrick Show. The Packers lost Christian Watson for the playoffs. Now, I'm watching this game, and I'm watching this in real time, and you can tell when somebody gets hurt, and they know they're hurt, and it's not just, hey, I got banged up. It's, this is serious. And you saw his reaction. And then I said, he probably tore his ACL, and that's what it turned out to be. This is one of those, wow. To me, people aren't talking about the Packers. The Packers have a good defense. They can run. You got Jordan Love. Now you lose Watson. That's a big loss. Big loss. And it's probably being underplayed here. But I think everybody's been focused, certainly on the Lions. And I'm looking at point spreads. So DraftKings sent me some point spreads. These are hypothetical matchups. The Vikings would get 3.5 against the Lions in a rematch. The Rams would get 6.5 against the Lions. The Packers would get 3.5 against the Lions. The Ravens would get 1 against the Bills. The Vikings would get 4 against the Eagles. Chargers 4.5 against the Chiefs. Texans get 7 against the Chiefs. And the Buccaneers would get 6.5 if they face the Eagles. The Eagles situation is also something interesting. This is being undersold as well, and that's Jalen Hurts. He's been in concussion protocol, and that's why I was all for Saquon Barkley not playing in that last game. Would I like to see him break the record? Sure, but you have to have a bigger goal than an individual goal, and you can't say, well, you can get hurt in every game. You can't get hurt in a game you don't play in. I want to make sure my quarterback's in concussion protocol. Is he going to be available to play? I don't know that. But here's Nick Sirianni being very evasive about the health of his quarterback.
As you put the game plan together, is it with the intention of Jalen as the starting quarterback this weekend?
Yeah, I have no new information for you guys. Like I said yesterday, he's progressing through the protocol.
Are you able to say if he's in the building today?
I got no new info for you guys here today. I'm sorry.
Wait, you can't confirm he's in the building? Yikes, where's Shefty when you need him? Like somebody outside spying on a grassy knoll to see if, is that Hurts? Is that him? Yes, he.
What is the huge benefit to holding back that bombshell information?
unless he's not in the building and that he's at a hospital or wherever you go for concussion protocol. I think what Nick has done is he's made it worse. I can't even tell you if he's in the building or not. Now, all of a sudden, I'm really curious. But this is Nick Sirianni, who doesn't handle the media very well. And in this situation, you know, if he's there, there's nothing wrong with saying that. He's not here today. We expect him tomorrow. Like, you can move around these things. Sometimes these coaches try not to tell you something while in the process really telling you something. All right, poll question to start out first hour is going to be what, Seaton?
Most attractive opening right now.
Wow.
Bears, Jaguars, Jets, Patriots, Saints.
Okay. All right. By the way, I had a source say, hey, keep an eye out on the Colts Monday. They may be blowing this thing up. Well, they didn't. They brought back their coach and GM, but they fired their defensive coordinator, Gus Bradley. I don't know if that's really detonating anything here, but somebody had to pay the price. So Gus Bradley was fired with the Colts. But the Jalen Hurts situation, that bears watching here. Practice coming up tomorrow. We'll certainly get a better indication. If Kenny Pickett is going to be the answer, you don't like the question if you're a Philadelphia Eagle fan. North Dakota State, they won the FCS title. The Bison, they win again. I think that's 10 national championships. And we were thinking, if you win the national championship in FCS, can we schedule something where you get to play the team that wins the national championship? Let's say Ohio State wins, and week 0, you get North Dakota State against Ohio State. Now, it's not going to be on a neutral site because Ohio State wouldn't do that. But you get North Dakota State, big moment. Now, granted, the team that won the national championship won't be the team that takes the field next year. That could be a problem. But that'd be nice because I'm all for relegation. I think that would be awesome. If we eventually get to my playoff picture, my landscape for college football, which may be the top 50 schools, maybe 60, split them up in divisions, and you have an NFL-style model. But could you have that last day, that last game, those last games where they mean something, where you better win or you're going to FCS? Or if you win, you're going up to FBS. You get to play, and the money is going to be a lot more. I think it would be fun to watch that. I don't know how practical it is, but I think if you had that, just like with the Premier League, like sometimes you'll have those last days where you're like, score differential, goal differential. Oh, my goodness, we're in trouble. Now you're going to be relegated. No, not the R word. You're relegated. 877-3DP Show. Email address dp@danpatrick.com. Twitter handle at DP Show. Operator Tyler sitting by. Yes, Paul?
Based off that, North Dakota State would be promoted to maybe the Big 12. And unfortunately, this year, Kent State would drop down to FCS. Kent State won no games.
I think Kent State probably should be relegated. Even though there's no relegation.
Right.
They lost every game by, I think, over 30 points. Like, they weren't even close. Winning was a rumor for them. Maybe not even a rumor for that. All right, let's see. A couple other things here. Some facts that you might be interested in. Bo Nix is 24 years, 322 days, and that will be on Sunday. That's how old he will be. The second oldest rookie quarterback to start an NFL playoff game. I could give you 100 guesses. I'd give you 1,000 guesses you weren't going to guess. The oldest rookie to start a playoff game in NFL history. It did happen in 2022, if that's a hint for you. I'll give you his college, which would probably give it away. I believe he played at Kansas State. Any takers here? Not Michael Bishop. That was Marvin. You were going there, weren't you?
I sure was.
Skylar Thompson. Paul, too late.
Yeah, just late.
Stat of the day, stat of the day, tap, tap, stat of the day, stat of the day. Here comes that what? Stat of the day.
All right, so the best opening, we'll ask Devin McCourty about that with the openings that we had. You had Robert Kraft. I can't say this was a press conference. It was just he addressed the media yesterday, and he kind of fell on the sword where he fired Gerard Mayo after 1 year.
This whole situation is on me. I feel terrible for Gerard because I put him in an untenable situation. It was very hard because the personal relationship I feel for Gerard and the human being he is, and I felt guilty I put him in that position.
Okay. Yes, you did. You know, everybody's a genius when you got Belichick and Brady. And then when you only have one, not everybody's a genius, including the genius. And then when you don't have either, then it falls back to who's running this team. And the Krafts have been running this team, not Bill Belichick the last 5 years, and maybe longer. Okay, you have Gerard Mayo, who is a coach in waiting. Now, Belichick didn't know, apparently, that they had already put this in his contract, that he was going to be the coach in waiting. That's the first problem. You have to let Bill know. Because, and Bill may say, hey, then I don't want to be around. And you may have to eat that one. But you can't do that to Belichick where you go, we're going to put this in the language in your contract, you're the coach in waiting. And then tell me that after 5 years of being the coach in waiting, he's not ready to be the coach after waiting 5 years. See, that's embarrassing. Now, I think what this came down to was not necessarily the performance on the field as much as maybe handling yourself as a head coach. And I think Gerard Mayo failed with those responsibilities because I think he wanted to be the antithesis.